and vote for the people that care. Make the BLP win this again. Don't vote for the rest and then complain. Look, active, active. Auntie me, I got the place active. Activate, activate with the BLP. We gonna be safe out here. Look, active, active. Auntie me, I got the place active. Activate, activate with the BLP. We gonna be safe out here. Cause right now it's election time. Next to me, I'm Lee, it's part my ex-guy. Cause right now it's election time with the BLP, all that we got to shine. Cause right now it's election time. Next to me, I'm Lee, is where my ex-guy. Cause right now it's election time with the BLP, all that we got to shine. Active, active. Auntie me, I got the place active. Activate, yes, activate with the BLP. We gonna be safe out here, love. Active, active. Auntie me, I got the place active. Activate, activate with the BLP. We gonna be safe out here.
You love Barbados as bad as me.
Vote for BLP.
Me and the team BLP.
Vote for BLP.
You want the best for this country.
Vote for BLP.
Barbados Labour Party is for we.
Vote for BLP. Them rights ain't ready. Them rights ain't ready yet.
I voted for BLP.
Them rights ain't ready yet.
Me and the BLP.
Them rights ain't ready yet.
I voted for BLP.
Them rights ain't ready yet.
Me is blessing Lee. I know you agree with me. The rest
tonight, I want to say a blessed good night to my families. How are you feeling tonight? Tonight, I want to say a special good night to my BLP family and to my Barbados family watching at home and abroad. Welcome. You see, tonight, I want to talk to you very briefly because we have a lot of energetic and amazing speakers coming tonight to speak on behalf of Corey Lynn, the next MP for the city. I want to talk to you about the watchwords of the Barbados Labour Party because any organization built on a philosophy has watchwords. Ours are care. Ours are service. Ours is a better life for our people. But you see, today, I have realized what the Democratic Labour Party's watchwords must be. It must be audacity. Because it's the audacity for me, for anybody in the Democratic Labour Party to think they have the moral authority to speak about what is happening in this country when they have been the cause. They have been the problem. The Democratic Labour Party held this country in a stranglehold, tore down every possible thing they could. But you think that they should want to tell us about garbage? The audacity for me. Where you left piles of garbage everywhere in this country. You can want to talk to me about buses. Thank you, Saitomia, because I don't understand. What under you? Buses break down in the middle of the road. A whole hole in the bus. I know that they wanted to give you AC, but that wasn't the way to do it. Could not be ready. Could not want to tell Barbadians about a moral authority. Under you, you left this country destitute. And this Barbados Labour Party has done each and everything we could. We have done as every Barbadian mother would. We have done the best with what we had, and we have made it 10 times better. We have taken every stone, every arrow they have thrown at us over these years. And we have continued to rise to the occasion. We have continued to put people and service first. Because all over this world, other countries took a different tact when it came to dealing with problems. When it came to dealing with COVID, other places said, no, you must have the vaccine. This Barbados Labour Party and this Mia Amor Motley said, I believe in your rights. I believe that we must talk about things together. We must come to a conclusion together, and we must move forward together. We must respect each other, and we must understand, and at the end of the day, Barbados is one place that we must all live together. Tonight, as you listen to each and every speaker, I want you to remember, because they like to say Barbadians have short memories. But I say, no, we have aromatic memories. Because you remember the smell of the sewage from the South Coast. You remember the smell of the garbage pile up outside your house. You remember the heat and the sweat pouring off of your back as you standing there begging the bus to come and praying that the boss man ain't reach work yet. You remember what it was like to live under the Democratic Labour Party. Don't let them fool you, because they think you forget. But how can you stand in front of Barbadians and want to sell them a joke? Because that is a joke. It is the audacity for me. But you can never stand next to me and sell me a lie, because I lived it. You lived it. All of Barbados lived it. Things are not perfect, but things are moving forward. We are moving in progress together. That is what a country is when it walks in unison with its government together. We have worked hard to leave no one behind. We have looked and tried our best to be in every nook and every cranny to do as much as we can in as many areas as we can because we knew Barbadians are counting on us. Don't think that I stand on a stage because I like the sound of my own voice. I stand on a stage because I have, guarantee you, more than 100 cousins. I stand on a stage because I have aunts. I have uncles. I have family members who need the Barbados Labour Party to pull Barbados through. But I want to tell you, they need you. Those at home, they need you to hold on to this hope. Hold on to the things that we have done. You have seen real change in this country. You have seen progress in this country. Do not let them sell you a bill of goods that will never appear, much like the manifesto that they said would arrive in early January. We are somewhere near middle of January coming now, and I'm still waiting on Verla, but she shall arrive when she's finished perusing our manifesto, I'm sure. But that is all right. That is quite all right. Because the Barbados Labour Party is prepared for Barbados. Because them ain't ready. Could never be ready. This Barbados Labour Party understands that it must move with you together in lockstep. And you will move with it. Please, please. I know that you understand what the Barbados Labour Party has done for Barbados. You understand what the Barbados Labour Party has planned for Barbados. And you understand that you are moving towards a better Barbados. Moving towards a progressive Barbados. Moving towards a Barbados that will stand on the international stage and speak to the world the way Mia Amor Motley did and tell them in no uncertain terms that there is work to be done and they must do it. Because she speaks to her ministers. There is work to be done. Let's do it. She speaks to us in the Barbados Labour Party, and in this Barbados, there is work to be done. There is work to be done. We cannot go backwards. We are moving together, and when January 19th comes, you will vote for the Barbados Labour Party because you know we are moving for better things. But now I have the opportunity to bring on a man who I am so happy to be able to be here to bring him on. I am bringing you a man that has been in his constituency so often, I am sure that every single body has seen him. I bring you a man that is a community man because he does his work from his heart. He does his work knowing that he was from that community and therefore he must do better for them. I bring you Neil Raw.
Anytime a man keep his word and do real enough for the community, from the time he get elected on now, he deserves to get the votes. So we can re-elect Neil Raw for St. Michael Northwest, for sure. Real results with Raw. Be voting real results with Raw. You don't know real results with Raw. Be voting real results with Raw. He built homes for disadvantaged families. Every day he helped the community pave the roads so we could drive smoothly. Provide jobs to help fight poverty. Clean up programs for the community. Entrepreneurs get enough opportunities. Promote peace and unity. Vote for Raw on the 19th of January. Real results with Raw. Be voting real results with Raw. You don't know real results with Raw. Be voting real results with Raw. Re-elect Neil Raw for St. Michael Northwest on the 19th of January. Real results with Raw.
Good night, St. Michael Northwest. Good night, Barbados Labour Party family. It's such an honor to be here tonight. I love to see the red boy. The last 3 years as a government wasn't easy. Being able to run this country under the challenges that we had faced as a government wasn't a walk in the park. But we, as a government, we got the job done. And despite those challenges, I can say that I had the opportunity to do a lot to benefit the good people of St. Michael Northwest and across Barbados as well. And my journey over the last 3 years wasn't an easy journey. But despite every obstacle that I faced, I made sure that I faced it without a doubt and without any fear. And tonight, it really hurts me to see how the Democratic Labour Party started out their campaign. And I said to myself that the Democratic Labour Party, like, they only have one style when it comes to running a political campaign. And to me, that style that they're accustomed to is unethical. They like to scandalize people's names. And the thing is about it, right? The president saying this boy down in St. Michael Northwest that seemed to think that, I don't know, he have it all covered. But I want to tell the boy tonight that all the thought that he running at his sport meetings, I have achievements to speak for the 3 years that I have been in office representing the people of St. Michael Northwest. So when he come taking his picture, like everything that he in a Playboy magazine, and sticking it on paper bags and putting food inside for people, and seem to think that he doing the glory, I don't need to do things like that. I'm not a cocky person. I don't have an ego. When I serve the people, I serve out of the goodness of my heart. So I don't need to put a picture of myself on anything whatsoever when it comes to giving assistance. I don't need to allow my men that putting up posters to stick my posters over his posters like how he have done. I have morals and integrity, and I don't feel threatened like him. I don't need to do those things. And how she could send a boy like that start out in such a corrupt manner, disrespectful as well, to want to serve the good people of St. Michael Northwest. I don't understand. And I would like her to help me to understand. He is not a perfect fit. For the time that I've been in office, I mean, I have done so much for the people. And he have the audacity to be telling people that I do not represent the people. They just hardly see me. But when I turn the page on my manifesto for where my accomplishments are concerned, look at the Pearl Bay Fish Market compared to what it was before.
Oh Lord.
And then I got my picture with me framed up by Pearl Bay. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. And when they turn the fourth page, roads that haven't been done under the last administration between 2008 to 2018 are paved. The entire stretch of Deacon's Road have been repaved to benefit the people that live in the surrounding areas of Deacon's Road, Deacon's Farm, Fernieghurst, Rosemont, Brandon's. And I remember being in the meeting with the Prime Minister, and I said to the Prime Minister that I wanted to utilize the land down on Mighty Grinder Highway, to help empower the vendors and the entrepreneurs within my constituency. And she said, my brother, I already got plans for down there, but it will benefit you as well. And we were thinking, because our thoughts were aligned together, and my idea was similar to hers, and look what? Barvin benefited from the same parcel of land that I was looking to utilize to benefit the entrepreneurs and vendors within my constituency. And I can honestly say tonight that I have small vendors in Brandon and surrounding areas who occupy the same facility. And when you speak about teaching a man how to fish instead of giving him a fish, look at my Northwest Alliance Deacon's Community Agriculture Project. When they did this project, the Prime Minister said to me, why you write about this in the papers? I didn't know that all this was going on down there. You know why? Because I don't run to Barbados yesterday or the Nation or the Advocate to get publicity. I don't need to do that. My word will speak for itself. And when I heard the cries of the people in Deacon's Farm and Rosemont and Fernieghurst and Golden Acre complaining about the electrical problems in those units, I was pleased to be a part of a government that, despite the challenges being endured during this COVID-19 pandemic, found $2 million to invest in an electrical upgrade to benefit the poor people occupying these units. And then that boy have the audacity to tell people that I do not represent the people who I serve. Why feel he eating so much burgers? Or too much pizza? Or go and settle yourself, boy. And when you talk about the residents in Brandons who have been complaining about the drainage system, I made it my business that whenever bad weather is approaching, as you can see in my manifesto, a picture says 1,000,000 words. I always on the job. Always. And when I had the honor to empower some of the young men on the blocks and young women to work in the ASH program, look how hard these young men and women work cleaning these gutters and drains in Brandon and across my constituency. And then you want to say don't do nothing for the people? And don't talk about the upgrades with the wells and the septic tanks across the housing areas within the constituency. I have been working and still working. And you want to know what is the most loving part of my job? Finding people living in substandard conditions. People still utilizing outdoor toilet facilities. The most loving part of my job, the most loving part of my job is to be able to give disadvantaged families new homes with waterborne toilet facilities. And then he will continue to preach to the people and mislead people, but I do not represent. I love what I do. I don't need to pay people to wear. Stay safe with me. I don't need to pay people to wear my shirts. Because I deliver and give genuine representation. The them don't know nothing about genuineness. They don't. They know how to play dirty. They know how to attack my leader or a leader. I like to criticize. But instead of coming to tell the people of the country what they will do for them, they always have the worst to say about the Barbados Labour Party. But the difference between the Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour Party is that we know how to govern, we know how to lead, and we have a regional and international leader for our Prime Minister. Tell me which leader the Democratic Labour Party ever had that was a regional and international leader and Prime Minister at the same time. Tell me, name one. I want ministerial time tonight because I got enough to say. I got 4 minutes already. These are the things that I'm passionate about. Being able to transform the lives of poor people. Being able to empower people. And they want the people of St. Michael Northwest to don't mind all the idle talk and the propaganda coming from the Democratic Labour Party. Your future is safe in the hands of Mayor Amara Motley. And your representation is safer with Neil Rowe being the MP for St. Michael Northwest. And I want to assure the people that I will continue to do my best and to treat you the way you deserve. And when it comes to representation, I don't pick and choose who to serve or who to help. Some of my comrades here could tell you that there are people that I employed and wearing yellow shirts tonight. And I don't have a problem with that. If they come to me tomorrow, I will still help them. And they have done so much in that constituency that I do not even have enough time to speak about everything that I have done for the people across that constituency. Simple things as building ramps for persons, the elderly people that confined to wheelchairs. I have done, and that is not even in my manifesto. I have done so much. And I will continue to do and to continue to serve the good people. And I want you all tonight, and those of you that could hear my voice, do not be weary with the Democratic Labour Party. Just be cautious with the Democratic Labour Party. Be very cautious with them. Because they will tell you one thing and do something completely different. And we all know what we went through under the last government And we cannot afford to let this country fall in the hands of the Democratic Labour Party. We need to maintain our confidence in the leader that we have. She was tried and tested from 2018 to now, during the pandemic, during the ashfall, during the Hurricane Elsa. Even too much to talk about. I just want you all, I want the people of Barbados, I want the people of Barbados to vote for Mia Amor Motley to remain Prime Minister on the 19th of January 2022 and vote for Neil Rowe to remain the Member of Parliament for St. Michael Northwest on the 19th of January 2022. Good night, thank you, and God bless.
Yeah, you vote, vote, come and vote. You never vote, vote, you better vote. You vote, vote, come and vote. Vote, know your ex, look, vote Neil Rowe. So be voting for Neil, everybody mark on the X. Join in, let me make the flex. For Neil, everybody mark on the X. From one post to the next. For Neil, everybody mark on the X. Join in, let me make the flex. For Neil, everybody mark on the X. From one post to the next. You get in, when I already know.
How good was Neil Rowe? St. Michael Northwest, you have a candidate, you have an MP, you have the representation that you need in Neil Rowe, and come January 19th, you have a simple decision. You have the decision to place your confidence with your ex next to Neil Rowe, knowing that it represents good representation, confident representation, but most importantly, it expresses confidence in the Prime Minister that we have in Mia Amor Motley and the team BLP. If you want to hear more, we're going to invite you to come to Deacons on Wednesday night, because the whole team BLP will land in Deacons and share the record that Neil represents. We're going to go to Deacons and share what we represent for the future. And Barbados, the Democratic Labour Party, and their smear campaign that they're attempting to distort the record of Neil, we are going to put to bed. Now, I just want to say good night. It's a pleasure being here. I'm your co-chairman for tonight, Kevon Henry, along with my other chair, Shanika Roberts-Odo, who forgot to let you know who she was. But now that we're here, I just want to remind those of us here on the lawns, to just remember the protocols, remember to social distance, keep your mask on, and sanitize when you're moving around ever so often, and ensure, because now is not the time to be playing loose and fast with your health. The election is days away, and the health of Barbados is important. And it is at that point that I think that I should share that people have been talking. People who claim they wanted an election have spent the better part of 2 weeks when they could have been sharing policies with us, when they could have been telling the people of Bridgetown, those in New Orleans and those in London-born, why they should vote for them. They've been trying to suppress you and discourage you from voting, telling you that it is too dangerous to vote. They've been telling you that it's dangerous to vote. But on the other hand, they want to tell this Minister of Education that it's safe enough for children to go to school, but it is too dangerous for you to vote. They want to say that it is good enough for the entire economy to be reopened, for us to go to town and stand in lines to buy things for 2 hours at SAS or Popular at Christmas. They want to convince this government that it's good enough to go to parties and to go to worship, but yet it is too dangerous for you to stand in the line, socially distance, sanitize, place your X on your ballot, put it in a box for your Barbados Labour Party candidate, and that is too dangerous for you to do. But we are here because the Prime Minister has called an election. We know how to do things carefully and safely. We understand that at this point, we have leadership in this country that as part of that team, the next speaker, Santia Brashaw, the Member of Parliament for St. Michael Southeast, who will be returned to Parliament with your support, who've led and assisted in the fight against COVID, and who would get with you, keep you safe, and keep Barbados safe. And in doing so, we know that the polls are there for us. We know that you can vote for Santia. We know that come the 19th of January, that all across Barbados, whether it's Santia, whether it's Neil, whether it's Corey, whether it's Mia, that you can exercise that franchise safely. So as we encourage and bring Santia to the podium, we want you to remember to do the right things. But Santia Bradshaw, our MP for St. Michael Southeast, is going to come and share more on why, when you vote in that safe election, why you're going to vote for the Barbados Labour Party. Santia is going to come and tell us the record of the Barbados Labour Party to go with, and she's going to give you the reasons why our future will be bright with Mia and Team BLP. Santia Bradshaw.
Are you ready? 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 When the roll is called out, I'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of times. We'll be taking care of all the children thereof, but if it's required, we'll be on the front line. You can call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime,
Never have doubt. What me say? Barbados Labour Party, good night. People of Barbados, good night. People who are watching online, I want to say good night to all of you. Barbados Labour Party, you're looking good in your red. A certain gentleman seems to like some red because in describing me, he had to describe me as red. But I feel that those on the other side seem to like when they see the red coming out, just like I like to see the red coming out across Barbados in an election. I am here tonight, people, because I am ready. And I know that all of you are ready for January 19th. As I go across the length and breadth of Barbados, there is a feeling across all of the constituencies that people want to have this election. Don't mind what the Democratic Labour Party has been saying to you. People want to have an election. And tonight, I bring greetings from the constituency of St. Michael Southeast. The people upon whose backs I have been carried, the people who I know on the 19th of January, no doubt will re-elect me as their constituency representative. You know, when I hear the Democratic Labour Party talk about the fact that we want to remain in office almost indefinitely, I ask myself if I'm in a different Barbados. Because I recall, and many of you may recall, the former Prime Minister indicating to the country that he wanted 20 years in office. He didn't say he wanted 5, and then he wanted another 5. Neither did he say, as Prime Minister Motley has said, she's talked about fixed terms, because she understands that there is a mission for this country, and she has to complete that mission within a particular period of time and then hand over to somebody else to carry it on. We're not overstaying our welcome as a political party. But because we are where we are at this juncture in our history, where when we came to office in 2018, all of you marched up and down Barbados with us because we were fighting against what we considered to be the very threat to our democracy, to be the threat to our integrity as a people. The fact that people in the rest of the islands didn't even understand or even say that Barbados did not resemble its former self. We were fighting against that, and you gave us a 30-love majority. You, the people of this country. I want you to remember why you gave us a 30-love majority. And you voted for a government. I don't know if the picture is on top. Yes, the picture behind me. You see these people? These people behind me they didn't jump throw themselves in the ring just like that. They were handpicked by the leader of the Barbados Labour Party because they brought something to the table. They didn't masquerade and say, oh,
I am here for the Times, but they can't tell you what they've done in the constituencies. You heard Neil earlier talk about the person who's running against him, pretending as though they have done things in the constituency, trying to make it seem as though we have done nothing for the last 3.5 years. When truth be told, all of us can show you little by little and big things that we have been doing across constituencies and across our communities, while at the same time trying to keep Barbados safe. And if you feel that the Democratic Labour Party could have done better, I want you to put up your hand tonight. Because there is nobody who would have experienced the previous 10 years of a Democratic Labour Party administration that believes in their heart of hearts that this country would be better off in the hands of anybody else than Mia Amor Motley and the Barbados Labour Party administration. I face the same thing in St. Michael's Southeast, where, we have people who are just concerned about optics. They just want to take pictures. They want to post that they have done things to convey the impression that we have not done anything. Before I was coming here this evening, a very troubled former supporter of the Democratic Labour Party called me, very concerned, because she was visited by my opponent earlier in the week. And it is funny, the lady has a gentleman who has a disability in the house. I have been working on making sure that the elderly person has a ramp provided to their house, because that's what we do. That's what we do as Barbados Labour Party representatives. But the gentleman, Mr. Shepherd, goes to this lady and says, I want to take a picture with you. You got a shovel? Because at least if I take a picture, it will look as though I was actually part of doing this ramp for the gentleman. Can you imagine the goal that these people have to make and convey the impression that they are doing things in communities, when the truth is they are now colliding with the communities that they are coming to say that they are to represent? I spent last night reviewing some of the Democratic Labour Party platforms. And no lie, it disturbed me as somebody who has grown up in politics, has respected people who have been involved in politics, has wanted as a child to be involved in politics when I got older, to see what was parading on the Democratic Labour Party platform as people who were pretending they were serious about being the leadership of this country, who ain't come dancing, come talking about how them got St. Philip locked down. They have not once talked about the fact that they are seeing their leader, their president, as the next Prime Minister of Barbados. And I want you to ask yourselves a serious question. Why is it that no member on the Democratic Labour Party platform, go back and watch the tapes, none of them have been able to say to the people of this country or to the world that not only do they stand behind Verla, now Graves de Pisa, and I'll come to that later, but not only do they stand behind her, but that they believe that she is going to be the next Prime Minister of Barbados. It don't even sound right. It don't look right. And therefore, it can't be right. I want you to understand. I want you to go back and look at the tapes, not because they gave anything of substance to the electorate, but because they haven't told you anything about what they intend to do for the people of this country. Instead, last couple of days, and I promised myself that I would behave tonight because, I have been the victim of the tongue lashing by females in the Democratic Labour Party who believe that if you don't have children, that you don't have the authority to be in leadership or to represent people or young people in this country. I have been the victim of that. You all remember when Mara Thompson got in Parliament and gave a tongue lashing to Prime Minister, then leader of the Barbados Labour Party, and myself for not having children. And therefore, we would not know what it is for people to sacrifice and to do things for the children of this country. And then to hear within the last week or so, another member, a young female, entering politics for the first time, not learning that that rhetoric has no place in a Barbados. We have had enough of that. And I asked myself, how can a political party that had the likes of Dame Nita Barrow, how can a political party that had the likes of Dame Nita Barrow, who didn't have any children, say the things on a political platform that they have said? You see, the reason why the Barbados Labour Party will always be philosophically different from the Democratic Labour Party is because we believe, remember our motto, a better life for all. We don't pick and choose. We don't say we're making a better life for single mothers, but we're leaving out mothers who are childless, and we're making a better life for fathers who don't have children. We don't say that. The Barbados Labour Party sticks by its motto for a Barbados that is better for all Barbadians. And I have said time and time again that I've come to public life holding firm to that motto, because people who know me know that if the people in the city call me, the people in St. Andrew call me, the people in St. Michael Southeast call me, I'm going to pick up my phone and I'm going to answer and I'm going to assist. Because I have pledged to be a servant of the people of this country, as has my leader and has all of us. They think this is mock sport, that you can just wake up one day and decide that you are going to face an electorate. They forget about the contributions of people like Dame Patricia Simmons and Dame Billy Miller, who represented the city. They didn't have children, but they loved people. And they understood sacrifice. And they understood that to make a better Barbados for our people, we had a responsibility as women to do better than those who came before us, to stand on the shoulders of women who had been successful, and to help to pull up the next generation of women. And I say to you tonight that I take it personal, because it is an attack on you as well. It is an attack on your sisters. It is an attack on the women who are career women, the women who have chosen, not that they can't have children, who have chosen that they don't want to have children in this country, but want to give back to the people of this country. And I tell anybody, my choice was made because I grew up with a father who spent more time in St. Michael Southeast than he was able to spend with me. And I understood that the sacrifice I would have to make if I were to get on a political platform and to give myself to the people, that I might forget to change the diapers for the child. You understand? I understood that because I saw what service meant, and that when you serve from your heart, sometimes you have to give a bit more of yourself to the people. And I send a message to the Democratic Labour Party leader as well, because as a female, it is not enough to say that you hold her hand and you listen to her because of the attacks on her. The attacks are justified. And the people of this country must call a spade when they see and hear these things happening. Because this is not new. You heard Dennis Lowe. You heard all of them in the last campaign try to degrade our women in this country, your mothers, your sisters, your aunts. And I say to you that it is the same people again mounting a political platform. They have a different leader, but they are no different from the people that we voted out in the 2018 election. Where were their voices when single mothers had to make choices in relation to going to the University of the West Indies? I want to tell the people of this country tonight, you see, that they should be ashamed. They should be ashamed of themselves to mount any political platform. When they talk about the fact that in St. Michael Southeast and other constituencies, MPs been missing in action, I want to let them know tonight. The MPs, the people in St. Michael's office who have run before me aren't missing. They got beaten. And on the 19th of January, they're going to get beaten again.
Oh Lord!
This is a mock sport that we're dealing with. These are people's lives that we hold in our hands. And I want to tell you because, you see, for the first year, you all know I was over in Miami. But I worked every single day using technology to run a ministry and to be of service to the people of St. Michael's Southeast and to my country. That is service. And all of us, I watched Jeffrey Bostic turn gray with the horrors that we've had to experience during this pandemic. I saw my colleagues age. I saw Prime Minister start to get a few little gray hairs herself. And why? Because we came to office knowing that we had to deal with a crisis, an economic crisis. But what did we end up with? We ended up with the pandemic. We ended up with the ashfall. We ended up with Hurricane Elsa. They're not excuses. They are real things that happen to the lives of Barbadians. And if we did not have leadership, if we did not have somebody who could steer the ship, I watched Prime Minister like a mad woman trying to find vaccines for this country. And they got the goal after people break up the night's sleep. And eat, and sleep, catch air. To try to pull down the very people that gave 24 hours of a day to make sure that people were able to get safely to shore. It hurts. It is not fair. So when they tell you they see the MP, all of these people have been working for the people of this country. You are not voting against the Barbados Labour Party. That's not what this election is about. You are voting for leadership to be able to manage this economy because there are bigger issues that we must confront. We are still in a pandemic. And the reality is that despite all of the gains that we have made over the course of the last 3.5 years, there are still some mountains that we have to climb. Whether you look at what we have been confronted with the climate change, the people in this city are perhaps the most vulnerable. Those who live on the coastline are perhaps the most vulnerable. And it therefore means that in terms of our planning, we have to plan differently for the people of the city and the environs around St. Michael. It is not business as usual. When they talk about the Barbados Labour Party wanting to give away the Hyatt and the Hyatt Hotel, the fact of the matter is it is the Barbados Labour Party that renegotiated the terms and conditions to make sure that there were planning gains for the people of the city. Because it is not a free-for-all under Barbados Labour Party. We don't sell out the people because we want a little something. It is about making sure that if development is going on the coastline, which is going to employ people in jobs within the hotel sector, that equally in your communities in the city, that you also are in a position to benefit as well. And that people have to spend and invest, but they also have to give back something to the people who live in the surrounding communities. That is the Barbados Labour Party way, and it will forever be the Barbados Labour Party way. We built out Harrison's Point in record time. No other country in the region able to do what the Barbados Labour Party did to keep the people of this country safe. Everything may not work all the time, because you know what? In a crisis sometimes, you get a few things that don't happen the way it's supposed to happen. We're not perfect. But I can tell you that more lives would have been lost if we did not work the hours that we did and make the sacrifice that we did for you. And we simply ask that while we've called this election, that you understand that there's still some hurdles that we must now climb. We still have some hurdles to go.
And the truth of the matter is that we find ourselves in a situation where there is still a lot more to be done. And we're going to have to change course somewhat. That's why we come back to the people, because we are not deceitful, we are not arrogant. The Prime Minister has had more consultations with this country than any other political leader in the history of Barbados. She has consulted. Even when we were on the crunch line to make decisions, PM just say, stop, pause. Let me go back to the people. Let me get the mandate from the people and let me move and step forward together. That is the leader that you have. And I don't have to take you back to what we had before in terms of the hospital. Y'all remember that there was a time when the bills were not being paid for supplies at the hospital and you could not get your medication. When old people were not getting the medication that they were accustomed taking on the formulary. That was the Democratic Labour Party, not the Barbados Labour Party. We came to office and we paid the bills. And we played catch up to make sure that we could settle some of the debt and still be able to go again. So how can they mount a platform and tell you that we are the worst thing ever when they want to erase what they have done and the fact that they mismanaged an entire economy, break up with society, and then want to come back and dip the hand in the kitty yet again to be able to fool you, the people of this good country? I want you to ask those who ran before where they're getting the money from to run the campaigns. Because a lot of what you are seeing is a divided Labour Party where you have a St. Philip campaign running, you have the one in South Central, Mr. Seeley, you have one down in St. Lucie running, and then everybody else got a break for themselves. But I want you to know that the money that is being spent is your money. It is your money that they would have acquired over the time that they were in office. The one thing I pride myself on as a member of this Barbados Labour Party is our integrity. You know, I could take people say, I ain't see you. I hear you. But good God, they can't say, Santia, your teeth nothing, and neither can they say from the Prime Minister back down teeth nothing from the people of Barbados. They can't say it. They can talk about all kinds of things. But he who is without sin must cast the first stone. Because when the fingers start to point, the fingers are pointing back at them. I heard them also talk about housing and trying to make mock sport over the fact that we have committed to building over 10,000 houses for people in this country. Not because we come with these fake promises for people, but because we understand the waiting list that has pervaded in this country year after year, where people have been on lists for over 20 years, 30 years in some cases, and can't get a house. We understand that there's a perception, whether real or imagined, that if you don't know the representative or you don't know the Minister of Housing, that you can't get a house in this country. But we also know how important it is for people to own a piece of the rock. And that is what we believe in, and that is why our mission is to make sure that people are able to have that elbow room to get out of those densely populated communities like in St. Michael's Southeast, in my own constituency, and in the city and all of the surrounding areas. Because you find that in the St. Michael constituencies, it is densely populated. Prime Minister always says to us that St. Michael is one big constituency, divided by lines. And I treat to St. Michael in that way, and that's why I can tell you that many of the issues we have in the Pine and Wildy and in the Haggett Hall areas are the same issues that we share with you in the city as well. And that is why we have committed not not only to have the houses from the Chinese, but to enter into the HOPE program, which allows everybody to be able to have a piece of the pie. But what does it mean? Because the Democratic Labour Party wants you to forget about things like Constantine St. George. Remember, I used to shadow housing, and I don't understand when I listen to them whether they are suffering from amnesia. Because you remember the houses at Constant, there were over 60-something houses that nobody had the keys to turn in the door for years. Contractors didn't complete the work. People couldn't get in the houses. Then you had parish land across the road. Contractors again didn't finish the work, no proper oversight. Barbadians were waiting to get a piece of the pie. I had to wait and wait and wait for a Barbados Labour Party to come to office to make wrong things right. So when you ask why people didn't get houses, people haven't gotten houses because we've had to fix the horrid mess that we came and we found in housing as well. So it is not because we don't want to. We've given back the monies to the people who would have paid in money for the housing units, the housing estates, either given money or we've put the money into, done it in bonds to transfer to them. Because we understand that they were a wicked bunch that lied to the people of this country and disappointed these people, the people of this country. And I ask you, while you are walking around and you're wearing your red and you're asking for the vote and the support, cast your minds back to where we have come from. But also understand that our mission right now is to chart a different path for Barbados going forward. We have to chart a different path in the same medical arena. Because we have spent so much money on medical care in relation to COVID that sometimes we forget that people still got diabetes, they got hypertension, high blood pressure, cancer, all of these things that in many ways we have started to neglect because the emphasis has been on COVID. And going forward, it can't just be about COVID. It has to be about all of these chronic non-communicable diseases. We have to play catch up. Because we get it. There are people who have been delayed from getting their surgeries and their medical appointments because of COVID. But in a Barbados going forward after 2022 election, the focus has to not only be on this, it has to be on making sure that we can preserve the lives of all Barbadians suffering with any chronic illness in this country. That is our commitment to you, the people of this country. And whether it is in education, where we've said we want global citizens. We want people who can go anywhere in the world. First-class citizens that are able to work and play anywhere. And how do we accomplish that? We can't accomplish it with infrastructure that is broken down. We can't accomplish it if we don't invest in robotics and coding. We can't accomplish it if we don't transform education. You know, I hear them talk about how nothing is happening in education. But they don't tell you that there was no curriculum reform since 2000 when the Prime Minister Motley was the Minister of Education. All of this time passed. And those are the reasons why you got rid of them. Because the vision that the Barbados Labour Party has for this country is second to none. And I ask you on the 19th to give the Barbados Labour Party members your support and our representatives the support. You see this fellow who running in the city? If I could vote for Corey, I would vote for Corey. Corey has some big shoes to fill. But I'm telling you that Corey is a man that I respect and I love. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you see, in our selection of candidates, it is also about people who got heart. People who care about people. People who are people-centered. People who put people first. Not people who are about optics. And in all the time that I've known Corey, I can comfortably say that I believe in my heart of hearts that the people of this city will find in him a true representative for the times. I have often said to Lieutenant Colonel Bostic that, I thought the St. Michael's office was hard. But when I come in the city, my heart does go to him. Because I know the troubles and the tribulations in the city. It ain't easy. But I believe that Corey has what it takes, because he has already shown, whether it is with his management of the household mitigation grants, that he's able to address the problems of poor and the vulnerable in this country. He is proven and he is tried. And I have no doubt that when the time comes on the 19th, that the people of the city will ensure that he is declared the duly elected representative. This is a party that is filled with integrity. And I'm going to leave you on this point. There is nobody in the Democratic Labour Party, alive or dead, that has ever declared their assets to the people of this country. They have never filed their assets before coming to public life, and therefore you don't know what they get when they come into public life and how they get it. All of us, and I keep pointing to this Team Barbados Labour Party, standing behind Mia Amor-Motley as Prime Minister of Barbados. All of us have filed and made sure that what we came with, we're going to leave with. And the one thing that we will leave with, because my father always tell me, a good name is better than riches. We will leave with our integrity, because that is what we have come to public life with. So don't mind all the optics and the mock sport that they want to make on a campaign. I can deal with them when I forget. The Lioness will deal with them up in St. Michael's Southeast.
Oh, Lord.
And if I have to come down to the city or to Northeast or Northwest or St. Andrew, I'm going. Because I believe in the people of this country, and I believe in the Barbados Labour Party and what our leader has to offer to the people of this country. I want to say thank you to you, and I ask for your support for Corey. I want to thank Jeffrey for all that he has done. It is going to be difficult to see Jeffrey Bostic go, and we have had some good times together. But I know that in passing over the baton to Corey, the people of the city and the people of this country are in good hands. Good night and God bless.
We voted for me, I won't leave. We voted the BLP, Barbados Labour Party. And let me go along, active, the BLP, real active. We voted the Barbados Labour Party. Me and Motley got everything sweet in the country, so no other party can trick me. Let me tell you something too, the BLP is safer for you. We are talking that Verla does do. I won't hear nothing from she and that crew. The BLP is the party for you. Vote for the future, vote for the truth. Look, active.
She's the lioness on the rise. That is Santia Bradshaw. My name is Shanika Roberts-Odell. I was so excited to be able to speak to you, I forgot the first time. But let me tell you why I'm excited. Because I chose the Barbados Labour Party. I did not fall into it. It was not because of family history. It was not for style and for fashion. It is because I have looked at the record of the Barbados Labour Party each and every time we come to government. We come to seek and to save. We come to secure and to rescue. That is the Barbados Labour Party I wanted to be a part of. A Barbados Labour Party who takes women like Santia Bradshaw and like Mia Amor-Motley and like Kay McConney and says, you have something to give to this country. Let me give you a platform on which to do it. That is the Barbados Labour Party. I have a firm belief, and this party has never let me down. If you cannot speak about projects, if you cannot speak about policy, you do not belong in power. because that is the foundation upon which a country survives. Projects that empower people, policy that makes life better for the entire country. So I am sorry, I could not follow the Democratic Labour Party, because we in the Barbados Labour Party take everyone. We take all ideas. We know we can't do it on our own. So it doesn't matter where you've come from. It doesn't matter where you're going. The Barbados Labour Party is willing to listen to you. And there are some who have come from another place, who have found that the Barbados Labour Party is the better place to be. The better place to be for the people of this country. And I have the pleasure of introducing one such individual, Mr. Henderson Williams, a man from the city, a man who understood that with the Barbados Labour Party, there is life for the people of the city. With Corey, there is progress for the people of the city. With Corey, we are moving ever forward, backward never. So let me bring to you Mr. Henderson Williams.
Tell me what you want, BLP. All aboard, what the people want, BLP. What Barbados want, BLP. Whoa, yo, oh, yeah. Well, let me go. Tell me what you want, BLP. All aboard, what the people want, BLP. What Barbados want, BLP. Whoa, yo, oh, yeah. Well, let me go. Tell me what you want, BLP. All aboard, what the people want, BLP. What Barbados want, BLP.
Pleasant good night, Barbados. Pleasant good night to the wonderful people gathered here and all of the satellite points. Pleasant good night. All in London born, who ain't here from down in Nelson Street, down in Chapman Street, down in New Orleans, Chapman Lane, good night. I want to start, ladies and gentlemen, my conversation with you this evening by thanking Colonel Jeffrey Bostick for the wondrous job that he's done in this country. Because as you are well aware, it didn't start in the city. Jeffrey has given yeoman service to the Army, the Defense Force of this country, to the Queen, and then to the people of Barbados. So we want to commend him for dealing with the COVID situation in Barbados and assuring the people within Barbados that we had the capacity to do better than some of our Caribbean neighbors and certainly other parts of the world. Blow for that, Mr. DJ. So COVID has done damage not only to Barbados and not only to the Caribbean, it has affected the developmental plan of the entire world. It is the worst pandemic that the world has seen in over 100 years. And with the assistance of this Barbados Labour Party government, we are here today and we are in a safe place. Given all of the challenges that we're facing, Barbados is still safe. Blow for that, DJ. So Jeffrey, tonight, we'll pass on the baton to a young man who has proven himself to be a trailblazer, a talk show host, a community activist, and now he's joined the ranks of politics within the city of Bridgetown. That is none other than Corey Lane. And Corey Lane will be here this evening to have a conversation with you, and I want you to listen to him intently. Politics is not for the faint-hearted. Politics is all about caring about your fellow man, woman, and child. It is about compassion. It is about empathy. A journey that has lasted within Corey is a very recent journey, but will last, in my estimation, with Corey and the city for decades, based on all the signs that I'm seeing there. So, Corey is the correct choice for the city. Blow up for that, DJ. Now, on the other hand, we have a man by the name of Kimar, a young man, who is just not ready. Now, I don't have any problem personally with Kimar. However, he is not ready. Now, I know Kimar ran against the Prime Minister in the St. Michael Northeast constituency in 2018. Is that correct? All right. Now, he joined the Democratic Labour Party. I understand that he was also interested in the St. George seat. I understand that. As a St. George man, I understand he was interested in St. Michael South. And now, he's taken up residency in the city of Bridgetown. He in Kensington Lodge? Kensington Lodge, yes. He from St. George? Okay. So the point is, and again, I was told that he's being touted as this young economist. Now I know they got home economics, and I know if you really look at it and do an in-depth search, that there's some element within economics at the micro level that will deal with households and how you treat to it. But I was also told that he doesn't even have the qualification to be recognized as an economist. Based on what I checked, it was a minimum of a master's in economics. Am I correct? So, the guy is just not ready. Leadership matters. Leadership in the city of Bridgetown matters. Leadership in St. Philip matters. Leadership in St. Lucie matters. All across this country, leadership matters. Blow for that, Mr. DJ. I like asking DJ to blow too much. All right. So, the city has had a history of long and vibrant leadership, stretching as far back as Ernest Dighton Motley in 1951. Dame Billy Miller has served the city well for more than 4 decades. Blow for that, Mr. DJ. Manners and respect to the people in the city. So we had a distinguished gentleman in the form of Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick. So let us understand that leadership matters. And the people of the city are the loveliest people that you would ever find anywhere. I tell you, JJ, blow for that. So we have a history of good leadership in the city. Now the Prime Minister herself, the Honorable Mia Amor Motley, has done an exceptional job in managing this country, and the government has done an exceptional job in very extenuating circumstances. So she has to be commended for the wondrous work that she has done in this country. This is the stuff that great leaders are made of. The word that in my mind personifies the PM is Titan. And when I say Titan, relating to the strength, the power, the influence, she is resolute, she is determined, and she is focused, ladies and gentlemen. And this is not just my view. This is not only my view. This is the view of persons around the world. A global outsourcing business advisor by the name of Peter Ryan the principal analyst of Ryan Strategic Advisory, has said this. As a global outsourcing business advisor, I have had the opportunity to travel to many different destinations that still are looking for attractive investments. And I have really found a country where a prime minister took such time, action, and a positive role in working to build business services, jobs to their jurisdiction. So he's saying that the prime minister is working assiduously to ensure that jobs are to Barbados. So job to Barbados and for Barbadians is important to the prime minister. He says Prime Minister Mia Mottley stands in the forefront of the world's leaders in this regard. Blow for that, Mr. DJ. Hey, 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 hey. And he also goes on to say that in my own interaction with Prime Minister, he validates this assumption that, in my opinion, Barbados is fortunate to have a leader of this stature. So it's not just my word that leadership matters. It's not just my opinion that leadership matters, and that we have an extraordinary leader in the person of Prime Minister Mia Mottley. Others internationally share that view. Others in the region share that view. Now, I ain't come here to bash nobody, but I am going to be very frank. Verla, on the other hand, does not measure up. She does not measure up. As a matter of fact, I don't call into brass tacks programs, but I was so irate. I was so irate when I heard the leader of the Democratic Labour Party on down to brass tacks indicating that there are 30 branches within the Democratic Labour Party and 29 of them function, but the city of Bridgetown don't function. That is an insult to the hard-working people of the city of Bridgetown, because I know firsthand that if you call on those people, they're willing to come out and assist at short notice. And I said that leadership matters. It has to matter. And as a good leader, why are you going on to brass tacks if there's an internal matter that you perceive? Because if you ask the members of that constituency branch, as I was reading in Barbados today, they indicated that they were not even involved in the process of the selection of the candidate on that side. Now, I left the process before I could have been selected as the candidate. So I don't have a problem with them selecting somebody to come and make a showing for the party. But they didn't even include the branch in the decision. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand. I want you to understand the importance that is being placed on leadership, particularly in the city. The city is in any country, an important part of that infrastructure. So you can't just pick up anybody and send them there and say, go and run in the city. That is not who we are. And we will not accept it. I don't have to do much, because as I walk with Corey, the love is there. The affection is there. You hear the responses? And people are saying, we are going with Corey. And even those persons who may have supported the Democratic Labour Party are saying, I am open my eyes, and I have recognized that we need to have somebody who's going to add value to the city. And make no bones about it, Henderson Williams was not prepared. My mother sent me to school, and I went to school long to sit down and accept rubbish from people because my mandate was to come and assist the city, and that is what I'm doing here tonight, and I will continue to work with Corey to assist the wonderful people of the city of Bridgetown. Now, Corey has been working assiduously in the household mitigation grants, and he's doing a wondrous job there. But let me tell you some of the things that were accomplished in the city, because the important thing is if you're looking at the United Nations Millennium Development Goals 2030, we're talking about sustainable cities. And that is important that the infrastructure is put in so that we can build on it, because nobody don't build the house with the roof first. So we're doing the infrastructure within the city, and we will continue to do the work for the people in the city. The Golden Square Freedom Park was done. Blow for that, DJ. I got about 14, just blow. The Constitution River Phase 1. The Constitution River Phase 2 is in progress. The improvement to the lighting of the city is also going on. The construction of kiosks in terms of the future works within the Providence Street and the Halls Road area. The kiosks on the Constitution River will also be put in place. The river terminal will be upgraded. The Hyatt Hotel will be constructed with more than 1,000 jobs for people in and around the city of Bridgetown. Upgrades to Temple Yard and Baxter's Road. The Fairchild Street Market upgrade Phase 2. London Bourne facelift. The extension to the tourism-related shopping and beach facilities along the Bay Street to Box Rock area. The landscaping, the landside hotel development along the old base mansion and the refurbishment of the old hospital. Outside of that, Corey also recognized the importance of jobs, because as we traverse the constituency, jobs is still important for the people in the city. More than 1,000 jobs is planned for the people in the city. Upgrading the housing stock within the city is also something that will be, a lot of attention will be played on. Murphy Pastor, we're going to be working down there as well. We focus on the community leaders and reintegrating them into the process of development within the city. DJ, you got to blow for that. That is important. Because as I see it, community leadership starts from within. Nobody don't have to come in and say, I am a community leader, I'm going to show when it's going to happen. It has been going on for years in the city of Bridgetown, and it continues up to today. Sports has been always been a unifying force within the city. And the Hamilton Lashley Foundation is going to be bringing close to 400 people in sporting activity in this country as long as the COVID regulations say that it's possible. Road tennis in the Orleans and Chapman Lane and up Nelson Street. Football are things that has been happening, and we enjoy that thing. And I found from a social perspective that when there's sporting activity within the city, the disposition and the quiet is there. Crime is down because there are things that the young people have to occupy them time. And we just refurbished the pavilion there at Westbury, and there is more to come. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with this. You have one choice. You have one only choice. When it comes to the 19th of January, I want you to go out in your numbers. Bring your family. Bring your friends. Bring your neighbors, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see you coming out to your numbers and vote Corey. Vote Corey Lane for the city of Bridgetown. We are here to help, and we're working assiduously to ensure that the city continues to be a good place, and we're going to make them a better place, ladies and gentlemen. I support Corey Lane 250%, and we're going to work to make the city the most wondrous place on earth. I thank you.
Mia is blessingly. I know you agree with me. The rest of them ain't ready, and that ain't too good for me. But Mia and BLP, the future for this country. So January 19th, I vote in BLP. If you love Barbados as bad as me, vote for BLP. Mia and the team BLP. Vote for BLP. You want the best for this country. Vote for BLP. Well, Barbados Labour Party is for we. Vote for BLP. Them resting ready.
Did you like what you just heard? This party has a big tent, and anyone who's progressive and work on behalf of the people will have a place in it. Now, our next speaker, her opponent is arguing that vote for him because you need an opposition. But elections are about endorsing competence. Elections are about endorsing competence. How are you going to look at the record of this Barbados Labour Party team? How are you going to look at the record of Marsha Caddo and the finance team of this Barbados Labour Party and say to you and say to the people of Barbados that it does not need endorsing? Our next speaker, Marsha Caddo, St. Michael, South Central.
Them talking about breathe and think we forget. It's them that had the people short of breath. You want this community to progress? Well, give Marsha Caddo that X. Yeah.
Care, commitment, courage, we voting. Marsha Caddo. Care, commitment, courage, we voting. Marsha Caddo. She not doing it for fame. Stamp your ex by she name. Care, commitment, courage, we voting. Marsha Caddo.
Saddle up a foot, caddle up. The work that she doing is fabulous, like saving the economy, love for the family, and free Wi-Fi. Marshal us.
And everything that she do spectacular. She got a vision, don't need binocular. He even walk to the village to talk to you. Put the X-Book there for Marsha, yeah. It is Marsha we voting. Constituents know she ain't joking.
Check the canal, the boats come floating. You know development is she motive. What?
Care, commitment, courage, we voting. Marsha Caddo. Care, commitment, courage, we voting. Marsha Caddo. She not doing it for fame. Stamp your ex by she name. Care, commitment, courage, we voting. Marsha Caddo.
Good night, good night. Good night. I love to be up here with my Barbados Labour Party family. How y'all feeling tonight? Y'all look good. I want to say good night to Barbados, everybody watching online, to everybody who is listening. It is so wonderful to be here. I was looking forward to this night since we started. I am so thrilled to be able to speak. And Corey Lane is one of the few people who I can call my little brother, because he's bigger than me, but I am senior to him in age. There's not many people I can say that about in this political life. But I am pleased to be here because over the last few days, I have listened to my comrades. I have listened to the candidates that we have introduced to you, Barbados, to be a part of this Barbados Labour Party team. And for every one of them, without exception, I have picked up a trend. And I have felt like I am really among family, and I will tell you why. I listened in particular to Davidson Ishmael and to his story. And we were standing at the back, and I was listening to him present and talk about why he is offering himself for political service. And what is moving me, what I am realizing about this group of candidates, and I count myself among this new generation of people offering themselves for political service, is that we have a particular philosophy. We have a particular ideology. We come from a particular place that has grounded us, that has said to us, because you have been born in a certain place or a certain position, because you might be working class, because you may have grown up poor, it doesn't mean that you can't offer yourself. In fact, it means that your understanding of what people go through every day in their lives is perhaps enriched. And I am so happy that Corey Lane is going to be the next Member of Parliament for the city of Bridgetown. I have watched his work. I know that he loves and believes in people. I know that he has come to work and not just to posture, not just to give himself titles, not just to go and call the newspaper every time he has an idle thought, like some of the people who are running against him in the city of Bridgetown. He has come to roll up his sleeves and to serve, Because Corey Lane already had a platform. He already had a platform. And with that platform, as somebody who led conversations on current affairs in Barbados and the region, as somebody who our Prime Minister thought fit to appoint as a special advisor on poverty reduction and the Sustainable Development Goals, with those platforms, he never used them to big up himself. He always used them to listen to Barbadians and to understand what they want and what they need and what they're saying. And in the last 3.5 years, I have had some of the most in-depth and useful and enriching conversations with Corey. Because he is a man that will pick up the phone and say, this is what is happening. This is what my work is showing me. How can we address this? Marsha, come and sit down and talk to me. This is a problem in this country. This is a problem in St. Michael. This is what people are saying. Let us figure it out. And he wasn't in front of any camera. He wasn't sitting down with any journalists. He just wanted to help. And this is what Barbados, this is what Bridgetown, you will be voting for on January 19th when you go to put your X for Corey Lane. Make sure that you're in the right lane here. Make sure you're in the right lane on the 19th of January. But I came also to talk to you tonight about the relationship between the city of Bridgetown and St. Michael South Central. And later on, I will say a couple words about the man who is passing the baton. Having been responsible for stewardship in the city of Bridgetown for several years. But there is a special relationship. Because I say all the time that this St. Michael is one St. Michael. And people live in communities, they don't live in constituencies. And so we have done a lot of work across our borders in Halls Road and Martindale's Road, to be able to make sure that communities are uplifted. And you have heard me talk again and again, because it's something of which I am quite proud, of the work that we're doing at the Constitution River, and the work that we're doing to rehabilitate and refurbish the canal to make sure we get rid of the overgrowth, because that is what a lot of people in Halls Road said, both on the city of Bridgetown side in Ellis Village and in Halls Road, St. Michael South Central side, Marl Hole and Chase Gap and Bibby's Gap. That is what people said, that we have this canal, that it sits here, the water stagnates, we need something done with it. And that work is going on and will end in March. And I'm proud of that. We're proud of that. But what we're prouder of is the fact that in March, when it wraps up, we will also have at that site not just an area to recreate, not just an area where small boats can come and berth, and where eventually you'll be able to sail all the way from the middle of Bridgetown, up Queen's Park, up past there, all up to the Globe Cinema. Not just that, but what we're proud of is that we will also have what we're calling the Halls Road Commercial Village. And this is important to us because it is an area where we will be building out kiosks for economic activity for people who live in that area. That is one of the other things that we have heard. That is one of the other things we have heard from the residents of St. Michael South Central and from the residents of the city of Bridgetown. But it is not just that, because that is not just a one-off. And we're doing that as part of the Building Blocks project because we have to, across Barbados, make sure that we offer young people somewhere to be able to bring their small businesses. Operating a business can be expensive. We all know that. And to the extent that we can make it affordable for people to have a decent space from which to operate, that is an important part of the future of ownership in Barbados. But we're doing it at that location. I'm sure many of you have heard me speak as well about what we call the Valerie Better Days Park in Britons Hill. where we're also building out kiosks for economic activity, because these areas have to be centers of economic activity, of culture, of arts, of sports. That is what our communities are meant to be. But ladies and gentlemen, friends, tonight we have a third location in the area of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, where we will also be building out another commercial village just opposite the hospital, because we know that we have to start to bring some life to commercial activity in this area. And that new village is there to benefit the residents of Martindale's Road and Bannister Land and the city of Bridgetown. And why? Because the urban regeneration of Bridgetown and of Greater Bridgetown has to be about all kinds of cultural and economic activity. And so that while these commercial villages are being created, we also have the Hyatt that is about to begin. We also have the new Pierhead project that is similarly about to start. But on that point, I have to salute my brother, Jeffrey Bostick. Because it was Jeffrey Bostick who continued to insist as the Member of Parliament for the city of Bridgetown that no Hyatt or any other enterprise must be erected in Bridgetown again without reference to the people in the surrounding communities who must benefit from those projects. Jeffrey Bostick would not let you rest. As someone who has some responsibility for planning and development in this country, this was one of the major things that we had to wrestle with. That if you are going to benefit from the patrimony of Barbados and Barbadians, you're going to benefit from the sun and the sea and the sand. You're going to benefit from the sunlight that is going to power your hotel, that is going to power your business. If you are going to benefit from the patrimony of this Barbados, you have to give back. And how? You have to give back, I don't want to just say through jobs. Yes, jobs through the period of construction, but also decent work at a livable wage so that Barbadians can create wealth for themselves and their families. It was Jeffrey Bostick who made that abundantly clear. Do not let it go up unless you negotiate that. And so we have done, the Prime Minister and I. And I know that Corey Lane is going to continue that tradition, because we cannot have a development in urban Barbados that takes commerce along, that takes big business along, and leaves people behind. And so from decent quality employment to being able to sell goods and services, to being able to derive benefits in the arts, sports, and culture, being a part of the renewal, that is the new Barbados. That is the future Barbados that you will be voting for when you vote for Corey Lane in the city of Bridgetown. And this urban renewal that is stretching from Bay Street sees a repurposed hospital, old hospital site at Gemmett's Lane, sees new conference facilities at what is now government headquarters. We'll see a new geriatric hospital moving from its current location to a more suitable location for wellness and recovery. We'll see new water and sanitation facilities and renewed housing for many of the residential areas that stretch across urban Barbados, that stretch across St. Michael. This is what a future with purpose, a future with vision looks like for the people of the city of Bridgetown, for the people of St. Michael South Central, for the people of St. Michael Southeast, St. Michael South, and across the parish of St. Michael. But it is not just the small businesses that will find homes in the two commercial villages that I've talked about. It's not just the small contractors that have already begun to get more and better access to contracts to rebuild homes, to rewire houses, to erect waterborne facilities. But friends, it is also the groups of young people from the Marl Hole and from Bannister Land and from Bittonsill and Column Rock, from Wildy Santia, who will have access to that area along Pine Plantation Road in the Pine Basin that I have just asked and agitated, and I have to thank my colleagues across the three ministries that allowed it to happen, Ian Gooding-Edgell, Adrian Ford, in Darware, that I have just asked to be cleared and prepared to create agricultural small holdings for people in St. Michael. They will have access to the new site at Lairs for agriculture. Listen, People in St. Michael are farmers too. People in St. Michael are farmers too. My mother sent us to school on her kitchen garden and raising chickens and sheep and pigs. And I want to say tonight that a young man from the Marl Hole is set to be one of the first to start a small farm in that area in Pine Plantation Road. And he is bringing several people along from that community. He's bringing several of those young men along with him. He said to me, Marsha, I don't want it if it's just me, and I don't want it if I got to do it with people from St. Philip. No disrespect. But I have to look out for these young people down here. We have to look out for these young people down here. I'm going to help you do that. And I don't say that, I don't single him out to create any kinds of jealousies or anything, because there is a space in this future of ownership. There is a space in this Barbados that the Barbados Labour Party government is ushering Barbados through for everyone. But I say this to you to show you that things are happening in St. Michael South Central, ladies and gentlemen. Things are happening in the city of Bridgetown. Don't let people fool you and tell you that because we had COVID, we didn't also make it so that transformation could happen. Things are happening in St. Michael, things are happening across Barbados, which you do not want to bring to a halt. Make sure that when you go out on January 19th, that the message that you send is we like what is happening and we want it to continue, and we are bringing that back, this Barbados Labour Party government, to continue to do the important work for the people of St. Michael, for the people of the city of Bridgetown. But friends, I want you to compare all of this, all that I have just told you about what Jeffrey Bossack and Corey Lane are doing in this city, all of what I have just told you about what I am doing in St. Michael South Central, the actual real opportunities for you to create businesses and start homes and own your future. Compare all of that to the tactics that we have been seeing in and around St. Michael South Central, in and around the city of Bridgetown in the last few days. In her tribute to George Payne during the launch of Rommel Springer, the candidate for St. Andrew, Mayor Motley talked about experiencing a defeat and coming back to serve the people because that is what matters. She talked about having to experience that along with George and others who have had to experience the same. Coming back to serve even after defeat, even after the people have said, well, you know, we don't want you right now. Coming back to serve the people because those people matter to you. But instead, in St. Michael South Central, on that other side, we have a man who would seek to represent those people, our people, St. Michael South Central, coming back after years of slumber. But you know, slumber is what the Democratic Labour Party does best, because slumber is what their leadership was about. Coming back after years of slumber, and somebody said to me the other day they might as well change the name at George Street to Slumberest or Slumberpedic or something, because that is all they know how to do, is sleep on the job. Saying that he is refreshed and renewed, and finally, after 15 years of representation, he finally understands. That is what the man said. He finally understands how to serve you. Well, that was a long 3.5-year nap, but I don't see the renewal, because I see the same tactics where rather than show young people in the Marl Hole and in Valerie and in Bannisterland, rather than show young people a vision for what their lives can be, you are coming back offering crumbs off your tremendous table and believing that that is what is going to move people again. But I want to ask you, I want to assure you that the people of St. Michael South Central are about far more than crumbs. The people of St. Michael South Central are about prosperity, are about wealth, are about a future of ownership. And I want you to make sure that when you go out and vote on the 19th of January, you send that message and you make it very clear. We are done with that old brand of politics. We are not going back there. That offers nothing. And you either have the crumbs or you have the lies and the slander. Somebody told me today, I don't know how true. Somebody told me today that the last tactic out by me is that he is sending people to tear down his own posters to tell the people that Marsha Cattle is who tear them down. You imagine that? You imagine the pettiness? I don't know how true that's what somebody said. I will hope it is incorrect. But these are the kinds of tactics that are being brought. But in my last 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say something else about St. Michael. I want to say something else about the development of the urban corridor in Barbados. Because yes, it is about work and culture and arts and sports, and it is about bringing a new life. But it is also about health care for the people of our communities. And this is the site between the city of Bridgetown and St. Michael South Central, where healthcare happens. When I was a child, my mother used to take me to the polyclinic. It was called Lady Mead at the time. I hope that don't age me too much. But she used to take us to Lady Mead Polyclinic, now Sir Winston Scott, which was, under this Barbados Labour Party administration, one of the 24-hour polyclinics that was established to be able to serve people better in this country. And I was proud to see that, because that is where my mother took us, all three of us, to be able to access health care. And I spoke with you yesterday about the vision. But this is a vision that not just sees the Queen Elizabeth Hospital improving as it already has. I spoke to you yesterday about some of those improvements, last night about some of those improvements on this platform. But I add to those things the fact that the QEH is purchasing a hospital information system, a new incinerator, increasing the number of stat beds, having 4 state-of-the-art isolation rooms, new CT, new X-ray, expanding from 9,000 to 14,000 square feet in a new fully equipped pediatric emergency room. But there's something else. And it is that it is not just about the QEH, and it is not just about Sir Winston Scott Polyclinic, but it is about making sure we build out healthcare in partnership with private providers that are located in the area of Belleville. And that the vision that we have between the city of Bridgetown and St. Michael South Central is to be able, as a public and private endeavor, to provide better health care for all Barbadians. The city of Bridgetown is poised, is ready to continue to offer to all of Barbados what a capital city offers to countries all over the world. And Corey Lane is the man to help take you there. I am so proud tonight, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to invite you, to ask you, to request, to make sure that on the 19th of January, you find yourselves in the right lane and you put your X for Corey Lane. The city of Bridgetown is going places, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you and good night.
Courage for voting, Marsha Cattle. Care, commitment, courage for voting, Marsha Cattle. She not doing it for fame. Stamp your X by she name. Care, commitment, courage for voting, Marsha Cattle.
Saddle up a foot, cattle up. The work that she doing is fabulous, like saving the economy, love for the family, and free Wi-Fi. Marshallous.
And everything that she do spectacular. She got a vision, don't need binocular. He even walked to the village to talk to you. Put the X-Box there for Marsha, yeah. It is Marsha reporting constituents.
That was the leader of St. Michael South Central, Miss Marsha Cattle. And I can't add to that. That was comprehensive beyond a doubt. So we're going to move real sweet and slick right in to a man that I love to introduce. Because I know the kind of work he has put into his constituency. I know that is the man that loves his people. So let me bring to you Mr. Kurt Humphrey!
St. Michael, so show your support. Come out in your numbers, don't hesitate. Don't wait till too late. I want you to vote and put in your vote for Humphrey. Vote and put in your vote for Humphrey. Vote and put in your vote for Humphrey. You ain't school, I know you ain't dancing. Vote and put in your vote for Humphrey. Vote and put in your vote for Humphrey. Vote and put in your vote for Humphrey. You ain't school, I know you ain't dancing. I'll be voting for Humphrey all the time. I'll be riding with Humphrey all the time. I'll be working with Humphrey all the time. So I get money pulls and from my life. I'll be voting for Humphrey all the time. I'll be riding with Humphrey all the time. I'll be working with Humphrey all the time. So I get money pulls and from my life. Trust the process, big and progress. Helping poor people and we notice. Keep on greatness, it ain't no less. Auntie me a choose her, she know best. Trust the process, big and progress. Helping poor people and we notice. Keep on greatness, it ain't no less. Auntie me a choose her, she know best. Vote and put in your vote for Humphrey. Vote and put in your vote for Humphrey. Vote and put in your vote for Humphrey. You ain't school.
You ain't school. I know you ain't dancing.
Oh, Lord.
Good night. Good night, good night. A very special good night to all who are here. A very special good night to all those who are listening and watching online. Cynthia, Lillian. Good night to the good people of St. Michael South who are here, who support me everywhere I go. Good night to the good people of the city who are here to support their own candidate, and my very good friend, Corey Lane. Good night to all the representatives of all the St. Michael seats, all the Barbados Labour Party family, and a very special good night to all of Barbados. It is a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I want to begin, first and foremost, as always, by giving God the glory, because without him, none of us would be here standing, so to God be the glory all the time. And I think as well, I want to thank my Prime Minister. The song says she chose Kurt, so, I want to thank her. I want to thank the wonderful team of men and women that I had the honor to serve with in the last 3.5 years as we formed the government of Barbados, and that will form the government of Barbados again. And of course, I want to take this opportunity to thank my good friend, the Most Honorable Colonel Jeffrey Bostick, not only for the work that he has done as Minister of Health, but the work he would have done for Barbados as a soldier, and the work he would have done on behalf of the people of the city for the last many years. I think you all should give Colonel Jeffrey Bostick a wonderful round of applause. I sit very close to Jeffrey in cabinet, so I also have opportunity to talk to him and take his advice on a number of things. And I want to thank him for his personal guidance that he's given me over the last few years. I feel as if I'm a better person for the conversations, a better politician for his humility and his guidance, and a better leader just by virtue of sitting close and learning from his experience. So Jeffrey, I want to thank you so kindly. I also want to take this opportunity to thank and welcome to the team my very good friend, Corey Lane. Now, I have known Corey for a long time. I got the best crew in Barbados by far. People over politics for life. According to me, a season settled for no. But I want to thank my good friend, Corey Lane. And when I say to you that Corey's story and my story, they're so similar. Believe me when I say to you that it is almost a little bit eerie, the similarities. Now, Marsha spoke of Corey's humble beginnings. Everybody knows of mine. I never hide from it. I like being from the Pine Bad. I like serving Bridgetown, Bayland, Dayton, Charleston, all over, bad. I like poor people, bad. But Corey's story is very similar to my story. My mother was a conductress, and my father was a bus driver. Corey's mother was a conductress, and Corey's father was a bus driver. Apparently, they got relationships going on up in there. But Corey's mother and my mother were friends. And in fact, my mother showed me a crochet thing that she has that Corey's mother made for her. And my father and Corey's father, bus drivers both, were also friends. Corey has a long service serving in the community. I also have a record of serving in the community.
And to bring it all home, now Korea and I will now share a border. And so it is as if this whole thing has come full circle to allow us to work together and to make a difference. And if you came to public life to do anything other than to make a difference in this time, then you're wasting time. Because this time demands that we have people who want to serve and who wish to make a difference. This time. And if you do not believe that those who come to serve make a difference, allow me to tell you of a few things that I had the opportunity and the privilege to do in the last few years that I had the opportunity to serve in St. Michael South. You know, tonight there is a spot meeting in St. Michael South. And on that road where they're having the spot meeting, it's a broken road. It's the worst road in St. Michael South. It's a road called Reesland. They are so arrogant that in their first spot meeting, they would choose to have it on the worst road in the constituency to then go and say about everything that I did not do. I can tell you all what I did. But let me also tell you that they had 2 prime ministers, and that road was so when Sandyford was there. And that road was so when Frandell Stewart was there. So I don't know what I'm going there to say. Mia Motley went there with me the other day. And when we left, we went back to cabinet and the prime minister said that road has to be fixed. And $450,000 was approved to fix the road, and it's already been done, and the road will start as soon as these elections are over. Let them talk about that. Let them talk about that. But in the few years that we had the opportunity to serve in St. Michael South, if you know the Bayland, if you know Clark's Avenue, those of you who would have seen pictures of flooding, not on my social media or on their social media, but pictures in the paper because it was one of the worst flooding areas in Barbados. Let them know now that if the rain falls the whole day, the whole night, Clark's does not flood because we fix Clark's. We installed a second pump to fix Clark's. Wawa know. We had pictures of Wawa with water all up to her chest. We fixed Browns, the flooding in Browns as well. When we went to Paddock, the children said, Minister, if anything, give me a play part. I said, I can give you a play part. They say, well, everybody promised a play part. We had a prime minister, he promised a play part. We never getting a play part. I don't feel you giving us a play part. Tonight they have a play part. And all of the other many things, they don't have enough time. It's not a spot meeting. But we made sure that St. Michael South has a lot of lights. We made sure that the women and the young girls in St. Michael South were safe. We started working on some kiosks to make sure young people have opportunities in this country. So when they start talking about where Barbados is today, you need to remind them of where Barbados was when they left it. You need to remind them because they seem to have forgotten all of a sudden. They got short memory. But when it came to public life, when I came to serve, I remember the night before the election saying to myself, to me, Barbados felt like almost like a foreign country. You remember that feeling? Like you couldn't recognize your own country? And that people felt the day after the election like a load was lifted off? Y'all remember how heavy this country felt?
Oh, Lord!
And all of a sudden, because Mia came and did what Mia did, all of a sudden they now come back to lay claim to that which they do not own. Because they don't own this country and they don't own the rights to it. And they're so arrogant that they are saying that it is not a democratic society because you chose to vote for Barbados Labour Party people. Well, if it's not a democracy and you did the voting, how they could want you vote for them then? But it's still the same democracy. Your choice only matters when it's for them. Because you can't vote for Barbados Labour Party candidates in this country. But I remember it. I remember how I felt so heavy. You know, there is a song, it's Psalm 137, but it's a Boney M song by the Rivers of Babylon, where we sat down, and there we wept when we remembered Zion. Like you're weeping for your country. We were weeping for our country. Well, this is about Barbados. They are talking about a warm Barbados. We offer you, this is your future. Our Barbados, own your future. In their version of Barbados, I want you to remember their version of Barbados, where they had no buses, Or there were pictures, they're now beginning to resurface, and I hope people remember. Pictures of buses where the bottom was out, you driving and you could see the road. You remember? Now we have buses. There were no trucks. You could not get a truck to pick up your garbage. Now there are trucks. Adrian even getting some little trucks now to go in and say the nooks and crannies in this country. That is their version of Barbados. We want our Barbados. We're owning our future. The Barbados Labour Party for the people. In this warm Barbados that they're talking about, they're saying to you that we are discriminating against people. That warm Barbados discriminated against Muslims. I had to take off the guards when they go to take pictures. We fixed that. That warm Barbados was chasing people in town. Vendors can set up a stall. We fixed that. It is no longer a crime to be selling as a vendor in this country. We expunging the records of all the vendors. Men who get whole with small splits and things, expunging those things. Warm Barbados. This is what warm Barbados should look like when we're talking about owning our future in a Barbados Labour Party. They're talking about a warm Barbados under the Democratic Labour Party. They cut the social services expenditure. That means that the money that was for welfare, they cut. The money for NAB, they cut. The money for all kinds of social services, they cut. And under Mayor Motley, we increased the money to the social services sector. We increased the money to the social services in Barbados. Now ask yourself, this is serious talk, man. You ask yourself, if you feel that under the Democratic Labour Party, in a time of COVID, that you would have lived the way you lived under this Barbados Labour Party. You ask yourself if they look out for your fortune the way that we have looked out for your fortune. They're talking about a warm Barbados. Remember, and if you don't believe me, go and Google it, Verla de Pisa. And all the Democratic Labour Party supporters were talking about the need for us. Easy, Randolph, easy. They were talking about education, about the fact that they could not offer free university education. When Mia said she was going to do it, they said Mia was a mad woman. Verla is on record. Verla is on record. Let Kimar, because Kimar claim he's an economist, let Kimar defend it or denounce it. Verla is on record saying it is not possible to do it unless you raise all kinds of taxes on the people. Verla went on to say, when she spoke about education in this warm Barbados, Verla went on to say that it is a wise thing to make poor people pay for university education. It is on record. It is a wise thing that people should have to pay. Was she talking about the people from the city, from Orleans and Chapman Lane and Mason Hall Street, and my people in Britton and Baylan and Dayton and Charleston? It is the same Verla de Pisa who said those things. She went on to say, I didn't get to say everything I come to say tonight, but she went on to say, the same Verla de Pisa went on to say when she was talking about education in Barbados that the university does not offer the kind of quality education anymore. We'll let Ronnie Yearwood, who does teach there, defend that or denounce that. That the university doesn't offer the same quality education. Well, most of we that come on this podium went to UWI. We were educated at the university. I hope someday that my daughter could go there and get an education too, and that your children could get one too. They went on to say that Owen Arsenal's vision and Hillary's vision to have a graduate in every household would push all the way away from vocational training. So it's good to raise fees so people can go to Polytechnic, as if Polytechnic is a second-hand choice. Most of the innovation in the world occurring in technical schools, it is a good thing to go to a Polytechnic. That is the kind of warm Barbados that they're telling us about. But we have to build a new Barbados. The kind of Barbados that Mayor Motley visions for you and for me and for all of us. It is the kind of Barbados that Corey Lane will help us to build. The kind of Barbados that will make sure that all will be good. all of us have to be good. That is the Barbados that we want. A Barbados led by a woman that is a visionary, Mia Motley. So when we say we are going to do some things, you could bet your bottom dollar we are going to do them. Because in 3.5 years, we did more than they did in 10 years, and that is a fact. And in my ministry, and I won't go through all, but I did so many things. But the one thing of which I'm most proud is the fact that I have a great relationship with the fisher folk. The ordinary people who tell me that they're finally glad to got a minister who looking out for them. Who told me that during COVID they knew they were good because we got them all together and made sure they got their vaccinations early. We looked out for them. We just put out FABs. These are fish irrigating devices so they could catch fish. Mia Motley did that. And they would tell you they're catching fish because of these innovations. There are many innovations that we did in the ministry. You would also know Richard Seeley don't talk about these things. He getting there boasting about achievements that ain't his, but he do all this work in the port. What work, what? Signing all kind of contracts and can't find the money. He needs to talk about those things. But we did all kind of wonderful things there in the port. We're going to be offering, Kerry spoke about it, hydrogen energy to the ships very soon. Barbados going back to a leadership position all over the world. People telling me it is good to have Barbados back, but not good to send Barbados back. It is good to have Barbados back. It is not good to send Barbados back. What this really is a serious conversation. And furthermore, in this election, you have to understand the projects that we are about to do. And there are many. The Hyatt is about to start. You know what I mean for the people in the BLP and Bridgetown and thing? 1 million jobs. You know what it means for the people in town? The people there in the main and just down the street? 1 million more jobs. And the point of that is that Mia said in so doing, Barbadians have to own 10% of the Hyatt. 10% belong to you and to me. We fixing up the careenage, making sure it look good. You already see the new green space. Town looking better already. And before we came into office in the last 10 years, town to pop down, pop down, pop down. And we making the country look good. I want to tell the fishermen before we get off the podium that we're also going to expand the fishing harbor because the Bridgetown fishing harbor right now is unsafe. If there's a hurricane, it's not a safe space. We are going to make sure that is a safe space. So here is what is going on. This election, my friends, is about a contrast. This is the most important election of our generation. Yours, if you're younger or older, and mine. This is the most important election of our generation. A lot of things depend on what happens in the next few years. You could decide that you're going to go and vote for people who are only interested in making sure their political careers survive. Or you could choose to support people who want to make sure that your children thrive. You could, in this election, determine that you want to go and support somebody who has no record as an economist at all, no experience, just talking it. Or you could go and work with a man like Corey Lane who is experienced and has done well and served poor people his whole life. You could choose a leader who has never led, never lead nothing, not even a rounders team, nothing. Against a lady like Mia Motley who is an accomplished, distinguished leader everywhere in the world. This election is too important, way too important. You then have the final contrast between a Democratic Labour Party that does not know and a Barbados Labour Party that knows. A Democratic Labour Party with no plans, no ideas, no projections, every night on the platform cursing people, cursing people, cursing people. And my mother used to tell me it's only when you ain't got nothing to say that you start to curse people. When somebody got you go where you say, man, so that what them at no man care. We are better than that. Barbados is better than that. And you all deserve much better than that. So I say to you, my good friends here in this place and those watching online and streaming, this election defines for the rest of us and for the rest of our time and our children whether we live in real terms or whether we die. I said before, in Barbados, you can't buy now. We don't make mints in Barbados. Everything you do in Barbados pretty much is imported. You need foreign exchange for it. When the Dems left office, we ain't had no foreign exchange really. You can buy a mint. When you got sick with COVID, how were they going to buy vaccinations? Tell me. How were they going to buy respirators? How were they going to import the beds? They had no foreign exchange. It means that this really, I ain't just talking, this is a conversation about life and death. This election, my friends, is too important. So I say to you, as I close, that when you make up your mind to go and vote on the early morning, I tell my people, get up early, wash the face, brush the teeth. They don't know the program. Brush the teeth, put on your comfortable shoes and your mask, carry your sanitizer, and go to the polling stations early. And practice, put the little X between the box, don't touch the lines. Because this election is too important. Every single vote matters. They say it is a democracy. Let this be your democratic right. Let your democratic right reflect that you want this Barbados Labour Party. Let this democratic right reflect that you want Corey Lane, Marsha Cattle, Santia Bradshaw. Let it reflect that you want Kurt Humphrey too.
Oh Lord.
And let it reflect that you want this great Barbados Labour Party to lead you into what is an uncertain future, but that you trust the hands of Amir Motley. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. I love you.
Who up and then you vote for Humphrey? Who up and then you vote for Humphrey? Who up and then you vote for Humphrey? You make school, I know you in that. Who up and then you vote for Humphrey? Who up and then you vote for Humphrey? Who up and then you vote for Humphrey? You make school, I know you in that.
All we voting for Humphrey
all the time. I be riding with Humphrey
all the time. All we working with Humphrey
all the time. So I get money balls and farm my life.
All we voting for Humphrey
all the time. I be riding with Humphrey
all the time. All we working with Humphrey
all the time. So I get money balls and farm my life. Trust the process, we can progress.
Helping poor people and
City of Bridgetown. City of Bridgetown in the Orleans. Those of you in London born, our Prime Minister is there with you in the Orleans at the community center. But tonight, at this moment, it is our distinct honor to welcome to you a man who has worked and served the people. I bring to you a man who was responsible for ensuring and building that there was a new A&E department at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. We bring to you a man who was responsible, along with the Prime Minister and this government, for delivering a facility at Harrison Point. We bring to you a man who helped and brought nurses to alleviate the shortage that we have in our healthcare system. I bring to you a man who worked to extend the hours available at the polyclinics and expand the services to some urgent care. Barbados, we bring to you, BLP, we bring to you none other than Lieutenant Colonel, the most honorable Lieutenant Jeffrey Bostick. Stand and welcome him as he comes. We know the job he did in health. We knew the job he did in protecting us. We knew the job he did in securing vaccines. We knew the job he did in securing the people in the city. Welcome Jeffrey to the stage.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children crying. One love. Hear the children crying. One heart. Saying give thanks and praise to
Good evening, Barbados. One love. Good evening, Barbados Labour Party family. One love. Good evening, City of Bridgetown. Enough love. I started on a journey back in 2006 as the Barbados Labour Party candidate for the City of Bridgetown. Even before I was elected, I had already selected the time frame that I would serve the good people of the City of Bridgetown. And I did so recognizing the amount of time that I have served this country, 25 plus years in the Barbados Defense Force. And I did so given my age at the time when I got into elective politics. I vividly recall having a discussion with Dame Billy Miller, and I indicated to Dame Billy Miller that I would have spent about 15 years as long as the people of the City of Bridgetown allowed me to do so. So that I want to make it crystal clear at this point in time that the mischief that appeared on social media suggesting that I had some sort of a falling out with the Honorable Prime Minister, my leader. Just like the mischief that has been circulating stating that Marsha Carroll's husband was given a multi-million-dollar contract at the QH. They are nothing but lies and should be removed from the social media with the same level of dispatch that the Barbados Labour Party administration showed in removing garbage and sewage from the streets of Barbados and from removing bush and shrubs from the highways and byways of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the same Democratic Labour Party script, even if it is a different cast. I spent the first 5 years of my leg of this journey as the BLP's caretaker, having lost to Patrick Todd in my first outing at the polls. And during those 5 years, my team and I did more work in the City of Bridgetown with very, very limited resources than the DLP administration and its parliamentary representative did, even with all the state resources at their disposal. During the second term, I served as the MP for the city in opposition. That period was much of the same delivery of nothingness from the DLP. Once again, my team and I, this time with the great support from the then leader of the opposition, Mayor Amar Motley, had to find innovative ways to do things in the city for the people of the city. It was then that I decided that I would pass on the baton at a time when our party was still likely to be returned to office because the City of Bridgetown always suffer every time the DLP is in office. Constituents of the City of Bridgetown, I have completed my leg of the Barbados Labour Party journey to provide a better life for all of you. It was not always a level surface to navigate. There were several steep slopes and potholes that were encountered along the way. But I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. I have stood the course. And so tonight, I give God thanks and praise for his guidance, his many blessings and tender mercies bestowed on me along the way. And I do so with a grateful heart. I express a deep sense of gratitude to you, the good people of the City of Bridgetown, who gave me the honor to serve you as your elected representative for the past 2 terms. And to the city branch and my entire posse for staying with me throughout the 3 terms of service, especially while in opposition and also as a caretaker. Those were very difficult times, but we faced them together. The only regrets that I have are, firstly, not being able to be with you and in your communities in the way that I was able to do during the first 10 years. And secondly, not being able to get more things done as I had envisaged due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on our lives and livelihood and the role that I had to play in dealing with it. But I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister and my cabinet colleagues tonight for standing in the gap for me during the times of my unavoidable and unintentional absence. One love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right. Prime Minister, my regret at not getting more done is buttressed by my absolute belief in your love for the city and its people. The assurances that you have given me in ensuring that those projects that I have not completed will be done, and your overall vision for the reimagining and the re-engineering of our beloved city, which will redound to the benefit of its people. Thanks, Marcia Cadell, for looking out for my people as you steered the course for the Constitution River project and the refurbishment of Golden Square. Thanks to Dwight Sutherland for ensuring that over 175 persons from the city were able to access trust loans to help them to start or enhance their micro businesses. Thanks, William Duguid and Ian Goodinedgel, for the work that you have done to alleviate flooding issues in the city, especially the Murphy Pasture to Chafet Drainage Project, the project by London Bone Towers, the cleaning of major canals such as the one at the back of the Greenfield and in National Housing Corporation and at King William Street, the restoration of the full complement of working pumps at the Princess Alice Pumping House, which had one working for almost 2 decades. We now have all 3 working. Thanks, Ian Goodinedgel, for paving the roads in Dunlow Lane, Chapman Lane, Greenfield. And I say Greenfield with pride because that is a road that has been in a state of disrepair for decades. And I said to my cabinet colleagues, I would not go back into Greenfield or Cat's Castle until those roads were rehabilitated. And why? Because those people suffered as a result of the Democratic Labour Party not honoring the neighborhood upgrade project. And I believe that that is a promise we made to those people that we had to keep. Thank you, Kerry Simmons, for ensuring that while you were the Minister of Tourism, that my people were included for the first time in the Bridgetown tourism projects, which provided them with employment opportunities and allowed them to do some vending at those activities. Thanks to you, Santia Bradshaw, Kurt Humphrey, for looking out for the city on my behalf with the distribution of care packages and also in other areas, especially you, Santia, when you were working along with the Prime Minister and as acting Prime Minister. Thanks, William Duguid, for the resurfacing of the roads at Mahogany and Sobers Lanes and the housing units being built at Kings Village and White Park, which will add to the others that were constructed by the Barbados Labour Party at Kensington Lodge, Pondside, and London Bone Towers. Ladies and gentlemen, housing has only been constructed in the city when the Barbados Labour Party has been in office. I look forward in anticipation for the delivery of the housing solutions for the people of Greenfield and Cat's Castle that are in an advanced stage of planning so that we can keep our promises to the residents of these 2 areas who were let down by the BLP. Thank you, Comrade Trevor Prescott, for looking out for me in the city in a way that only Trevor Prescott can. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel all right. Constituents of the city of Bridgetown, I have cited the assistance given to me by the Prime Minister and my cabinet colleagues, which clearly demonstrate that more have been done for you in 3.5 years than during the combined periods when the DLP were responsible for the management of the affairs of this country. And this ought to be the parting of the ways, that which distinguishes and separates the BLP from its opponents in the city of Bridgetown. I give you the assurance that the next leg of the race will be exciting and productive, especially when you elect Corey Lane as your next parliamentary representative and put the Barbados Labour Party administration in a position to continue the great work which it has started. Comrade Corey Lane, as I pass the baton to you to run the next leg, I leave you with the confidence that you are way ahead of the others in the race for the city. You have the opportunity to build on my leg and to run your own leg, knowing that you are not alone, like the LP MPs and candidates who have represented or sought to represent the city of Bridgetown have been when their party was in office, but recognizing that you have the full support of our Prime Minister and political leader, as well as your colleagues, and I am also here for you. I am happy to be leaving at a time when our great party is still the party of choice, where you, Corey, can start your leg in government and not in opposition, because this will certainly benefit the people of the city of Bridgetown. One love, comrade, one love. City of Bridgetown family, I ask you to walk with Corey Lane in the same way that you did with me. Work for him as you work for me. Nurture him and empower him with your knowledge of the city and its political landscape, and with love for him. Cast your minds back to 2006 when he entered the race as a rookie, and be happy with how I have become, largely because of how you helped me and how you guided me. One love, comrades and friends, one heart that beats Barbados Labour Party. The constituents of the city of Bridgetown, those who supported the BLP, as well as those who did not, I humbly submit to you that the only political party in the race with a track record of providing a better life for you, the people of the city of Bridgetown, is the Barbados Labour Party. I humbly submit to you that the only political leader in the race for the country with a track record of performance that is consistent with promises made is Mia Amor Motley. I submit to you, constituents of the city of Bridgetown, that the only political party and leader in the race for the country who have demonstrated beyond a shadow of a doubt that they have the capacity, the ability, and the desire to land us safely in any crisis, including the fight against the Omicron variant and whatever else comes after, is the Barbados Labour Party, ably and admirably led by Mia Amor Motley. Let's get together to fight this viral Armageddon. City of Bridgetown constituents, as the outgoing MP for the constituency, I have the honor to declare that Corey Lane is well prepared, well suited, and most capable to replace me as the next Member of Parliament for the constituency of the city of Bridgetown. And I declare here now that he has my vote. I am going on the 19th, early in the morning, at the St. Mary's Primary School to vote for Corey Ford, and I encourage all of you to go up early and vote for Corey Ford. Barbados, sorry, Corey Lane, forgive me. I have spent the last 2 years with Corey Ford day and night. Forgive me. Corey Lane, Corey Lane, Corey Lane. Let me hear you. Corey Lane, Corey Lane. Barbados Labour Party family. I have the honor and the pleasure this evening to introduce the Barbados Labour Party candidate and the next representative for the city of Bridgetown, Mr. Corey Lane. Corey Lane is a graduate of the Lodge School and holds an honors degree from the UWI KFL campus in sociology with political science, a diploma in project management from the Barbados Institute of Management and Productivity, a horse care and management certificate from the University of Florida. He is the founder and the CEO of Nature Fun Ranch, an organization that he developed from a local community program to a national program serving more than 300 youth annually. He successfully generated a home for the ranch after a 10-year struggle for land. He's the recipient of many service, community, and youth awards from Rotary Club of Barbados, Phoenix Award from the Ministry of Youth, awards from the Optimist Club, the National Volunteer Award from the Barbados Association of Non-Governmental Organizations, a Queen Scout, community involvement including being a parish ambassador for St. Michael from 2001 to 2002, Barbados Youth Parliament Chairman, Barbados Youth Development Council past Vice President, Youth Alliance Director, National HIV Commission volunteer, UNAIDS Eastern Caribbean Youth Representative, the then Her Majesty's President, now Barbados Prison Service Consultant for HIV Youth Rehab and Aftercare Services, and the chair of the Relative Support Group. In broadcasting, he distinguished himself, station manager of Radio Max radio station, Teen Talk Thursday radio show co-host, Keeping It Real TV show co-host, Street Light TV show host, broadcaster, and radio host of Down to Brass Tacks. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite on stage the man to run the next leg for the Barbados Labour Party and the next representative for the city of Bridgetown, Corey Lane. The man who I will officially pass the baton to in a little while. A man who is always among the people, a man for the people and of the people, a community-oriented man, a youth worker, a man who seeks to work on behalf of the marginalized, those seeking a second chance in life, those who are stigmatized, a man who can mobilize human and material resources, a man who believes in service and who is accustomed to delivering high-quality service, a man who has continuously given voluntary service. Ladies and gentlemen, hail the new sheriff in town who has his deputies with him, who is supported by a marshal and who has a posse and who will mobilize and represent all constituencies of the city of Bridgetown. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey Lane, the next representative for the city of Bridgetown.
It is plain to see Corey Lane will have the next victory in Bridgetown City. Corey, Corey, that's the name you're hearing all about. Corey, Corey, the people want him without a doubt. Corey, Corey, it is plain to see Corey Lane will have the next victory in Bridgetown City. We voted for Corey, we voted for Corey.
I have the honor to pass
pass this baton on to you. Knowing that you will run a good race. Knowing that you will represent the party well. Knowing that you will represent the city well. Corey Lane, the new sheriff in town.
It is plain to see. Corey Lane will have the next victory in Bridgetown City. Corey. That's the name you're hearing all about. Corey. The people want him without a doubt. Corey. It is plain to see. Corey Lane will have the next victory in Bridgetown City. We voted for Corey. We voted for Corey. We voted for Corey. We voted for Corey. Corey. That's the name you're hearing all about. Corey. The people want him without a doubt. Corey. It is plain to see. Corey Lane will have the next victory in Bridgetown City.
Good night, Barbados. Good night, Labour Party family. Good night, City of Bridgetown. Massive love and respect to Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick. I have this baton, and I shall make you and the City of Bridgetown and Barbados proud. I thank you very much, sir. And we salute you, sir. Well, let's get down to brass tacks.
Oh, Lord.
As I have been doing on the campaign trail, let me start by publicly wishing each and every one of you a very happy new year, filled with health, wealth, and happiness. Wherever you are across my constituency, throughout Barbados, or throughout the entire world. Happy New Year. Formally, allow me to thank the great people of the City of Bridgetown for your warm embrace and acceptance. I must also thank you for your tea, your samosas, and those deputy beers. I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for her endorsement and confidence in me. It means a lot. I want to thank the Barbados Labour Party Executive Council, the General Secretary, and the outgoing MP for the City of Bridgetown, the City Branch, and the wider Barbados Labour Party family for giving me this great opportunity to stand on this stage tonight and be your candidate with this team that is proven and tried to take Barbados forward 2022 and beyond. I want to thank you. I must also thank my mom for raising me. John King, not the singer, but my scoutmaster. Alice Jordan, Diana Edgell, and Carol Jacobs, my mentors, not to mention or to left out, David Ellis and the late Dennis Johnson, Mr. Ulu Waldron, and many more who will be mentioned on another time, at another place as well, hopefully. My friends, without your support, which I ask you to translate into votes, come Wednesday, January 19th, 2022, not January 20th, but January 19th, 2022, that this will be cementing our relationship should you elect me to serve as your next member of parliament and representative for the City of Bridgetown. I want to reiterate here and now, I am not running against anyone. I am running for you. I am running for betterment, programs, progress, and formation and betterment for the City of Bridgetown and the entire Barbados. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. The city has a rich tradition and representation, so I know what I signed up for. We can go back to Elliot Motley, and as I walk around, constituents remind me of the uniforms, of the food, of the various programs. They are still alive and remember the right excellent Dame Billy Miller, I had the pleasure to call her on her birthday a few mornings ago and sing happy birthday. I could represent, but I may not be able to sing, but she was able to thank me, and she gave me a little blush. And she reminded me of the leader that we have, that she met at 15 years old, when she said that she wanted to represent this nation. And today we have the pleasure of having the Honorable Mia Amor Motley as Prime Minister of this country some years later. But maybe we got to talk now about the outgoing MP, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, the sheriff. When people tell me I got big shoes to fill, I remind them they are not shoes, they are boots. I got big boots to fill. But Barbados, I am here to tell you tonight, my boots are on. My boots are laced. My boots are shining. And I am fired up, and I am ready for duty. Some people ask me why now for politics after I have run from politics for so many years. But you, the people, have allowed me to know that I'm like a premium sportsman in the stands, commenting, promoted to the commentator booth to talk. But I am an action man. So now I have put on my boots and I am on the field and I am ready for action. I am ready to do what I do best, and that is to act, and to act on your behalf. And I thank you for that opportunity. I have taken the time to listen to you, to share my vision, and to engage with you, to encourage you and give you the assurance that with God's grace and your support come January 19th, that I get the opportunity to make my lane your lane, together for the future of the city of Bridgetown, and I assure you that it will be a bright future. My wife, Latoya, and I, we have agreed that this relationship with the city of Bridgetown will not be any one-night stand. I don't play that way. This is no one-off. We are in this for the long haul. And comrades, it is my pleasure, because I don't have to remind you what the Mia Amor administration has shown this country and the world that we are capable of achieving as a small island developing state, despite what we inherited in 2018 and the many problems over the last 2 years. In a short 3.5 years, we have been able to restore trust in government. We have been able to do it both home and abroad. Across the world can look at Barbados and understand that Barbados is back and we are punching above our weight once again. And I think we should thank the Mia Amor Motley administration and the Barbados Labour Party for that. Your government has kept the country safe and afloat. Food on the table, jobs intact for the most part, money in your pocket despite the fallout from the ongoing pandemic that people are now wanting to pretend does not exist, but it does. And you could ask the other Corey Ford, about that. The pandemic exists. Can you begin to imagine how much more our Prime Minister and her team could do for you and Barbados if given the fresh mandate and allowed to take fresh guard to take this country into supersonic mode as I picture and journey with you. My friends, it is safer with Mia and the BLP. We simply cannot afford to turn back, to go back, to return to lack of governance, the lack of policies, the lack of implementation, the lack of growth. Let's go. It is first, second, third, no part, no reverse, no retreat, no surrender. That is what it is. Let me go along. Under Anti-Mia, the Barbados Labour Party have returned all of our social services to a position that we can be proud of. The bus service, the water in rural parishes for the most part,
The health care, thank you again, Colonel Boss, State Lieutenant. Listen to me, the garbage collection. And all you who go, wait, or plan to go to University of West Indies, she returned that too. Talk about hope. Talk about implementation and talk about vision. My friends, you have a serious government that cares about your well-being. Was everything done right and perfectly? No. And it is done so nowhere in the world. But was it done to our satisfaction? Was it done in a way that we can be proud to say that we are Barbados, we are Bajans, and we are happy with the direction that we are going? I ask you that question tonight. Is it no or is it yes? Well, it is obvious. Ladies and gentlemen, the choice is clear. We are on a journey to protect the future of our country. Team BLP will continue to work even harder and redouble its effort to build out and safeguard a Barbados for you, your children, and your grandchildren, where they can feel safe in a Barbados that they can be proud to call their own. It is time that we move to I surviving to I am thriving. That is where we are going. But as we go through the campaign, you will hear more and more as I set out to build upon my relationships with you and my people of this city. As the Prime Minister will say, ladies and gentlemen, many hands make light work. And don't forget, this is a marathon and not a sprint. And while the journey may seem long, measure us by our work. Measure us by our commitments. And as we look after and secure your interests. As one of the youngest or the youngest candidate in this upcoming election, some of you may be wondering, who really is Corey Lane? I tell you, don't listen. I tell you, go and look. Go and look at the work that I have done for the last 23 and a half years, and you can come back and report and tell me if you are satisfied in where we are going. We all know these are not normal times that we are in. We understand that it is time that we talk plainly to the people of Barbados. This election is about leadership, planning, preparing, programs and progress, and the times ahead. And who do you want to lead you but Mia Amor Motley and the Barbados Labour Party? And Corey Lane as a part of that team, as I am reminded by the city of Bridgetown. Simply put, we have a roadmap in place to guide us to the future, to transform and shape the lives of ordinary boys and girls, men and women across this nation. And we must allow you to participate. We want your participation. Participation must not be limited to the comments on social media where people cannot bring an idea but can only criticize and pull down. We want you to bring the ideas. We want every single Barbadian to participate in the development of Barbados. That is what we are about. Let me go look. Against this backdrop, I, Corey Alexander Lane, born and grew of many struggles, yet filled with resilience and empathy. Many of you probably may or may not know this, but I lost my mother at a young age, immediately after the birth of twins. And I used that opportunity really as it was taking me on a negative path to stop, to look, to refocus. And that is what I plan to bring to the city of Bridgetown and to Barbados as a whole. That is my experience, and that is what I bring to you, ladies and gentlemen. My mom's mantra to me, and it sticks in my head to this day, is the golden rule. Treat others as you would want them to be treated. And that is what I do, and that is what I plan to continue to do as long as I live. That has made me the person that I am today. She simply wanted for me to be appreciative of my circumstances, even though we lived in poverty. With that, she placed with me a very important lesson, and that was to pay attention to education. As she would sing to me on mornings and wouldn't let me sleep, little black boy, go to school and learn. And it finished with, or else your life would be pure hell. And that is something that we must continue to drill in the lives and the minds and the heads of our young people today. That and volunteerism placed me in a better position to emerge from poverty. It was in the Boy Scouts movement that instilled in me the discipline and fortitude and set me on a strong footing. This is where I honed my leadership skills and greater care for you, the people. As the promise goes, a Cub Scout always does his best, thinks of others before himself, and does a good turn every day. And that is what I am about. Visionary as I was then, from a young and tender age, and based on my circumstances, I wanted to pave a way for the at-risk youth in my community. I saw boredom and I saw violence. I saw violence and I saw boredom. And what did I do as a problem solver and an action Jackson? It led to the birth, the growth, and the expansion of Nature Fun Ranch. Additionally, I got involved in the prison system, not as a prisoner, but as a rehab counselor working with inmates to ensure that better days was ahead for them, that they could get involved and get to use their skills to write books, learn skills, develop skits, do whatever they want to do, and be whoever they want to be in a positive light. And I plan to bring that to the city of Bridgetown. That is the type of person that I am, and I strongly believe in working with on behalf of marginalized citizens through positive, wholesome programs. I am committed to serve. Your next MP will be there for you. I give you the assurance. My concern for people is real. I believe in people, and I am therefore asking you to believe in me as we set sail on this journey for you, with you. You have hailed me as genuine, down-to-earth, and sincere. While you hear me speak, you know I am filled with passion, an unwavering commitment to Barbados and advancing the poor and working on behalf of the better life of all. And that is why it was easy to enter upon this stage with a party that I see believe in a better life for all, the Barbados Labour Party. You better believe it. Let me go look. As we continue on this election trail and over the coming days, I will continue to put forward my case to you, the electorate, as to why you should elect me to be your next member of parliament, your representative. I will share my broader plans for you, for the projects and the community work, for the short and the long-term plans, projects and programs I have for the city of Barbados. Some of my proposals and my initiatives, they include, just like we did the Golden Square Freedom Park, and I want you to put your hands, a round of applause for those working on that project. It is a fantastic initiative and one that every Barbadian can be proud of. We plan to do that with the Hyatt and the Pier Hay project, the Treasury project, every project. Just like we had the Empire and Barbie's Plaza, we need a cinema and active theater in the city. These are the sort of things that I am about. We need to bring back business, high quality business, to the people of the city and the people of Barbados as a capital city. I have seen the migration of the people and the business. But you have to understand that the capital city is the lifeblood of a country, the economic power of a nation. And it is time, and I will work my hardest to make sure that I bring it back. Let me go look. The return of the Baxter's Road Festival, the training, the educational programs, the Beverly Hills program, the skills and training opportunities, the housing and the jobs. I am ready to run. I tell when my boots are on, they're laced up, and I am ready to go. Together, we can do this. My friends, I have already drafted a number of pieces of correspondence to the various and the relevant authorities on your behalf. After you sign and seal on January 19th, I will deliver. Sign, seal, and deliver. Together we will transform the city of Bridgetown. So comrades, I look forward to sharing more of my involvement to you with all the projects I've been involved in. You heard about them, the Youth Parliament, Special Advisor to the Prime Minister on Poverty Alleviation and the Sustainable Development Goals, the Household Mitigation Unit. I come with experience. I am young, but I in town long. And I will bring that experience to bear for Barbados and the city of Bridgetown. Ladies and gentlemen, I have given you just a snapshot of my life and work. Tonight, you have taken a journey with me, a journey of words. But come January 19th, 2022, we're telling you, a vote for Corey Lane and the Barbados Labour Party will signal the continuation of the voyage of deeds. So let us unite behind one leader, one government, a visionary, transformative leader, Mia Amor Motley, and the Barbados Labour Party. It is safer with Mia. Good night, the city of Bridgetown. Good night, Labour Party family. Good night, Barbados. May God bless you and God bless the Republic of Barbados. Good night, everybody.
You, let me vote for Corey Lane. I feel this for the things that's for the things. Watch it there, man. Let me get this pen here, man. Vote, don't vote there, man. I show that I serious. Vote in Barbados Labour Party. You don't know. You, vote for Corey Levy. Vote for Corey Levy. Vote. Let Corey know that he got we support. Vote for Corey Levy. Vote for Corey Levy. Vote now. For Corey Levy, vote. Corey Levy, vote. In this brand new election time, we come up to vote and make correlation. He's the newest politician on the street.
That is your candidate.
So you know
that is your next MP, Corey Lane. But City of Bridgetown, we're going to introduce to you our next speaker. We said earlier that elections are about endorsing competence. When you check her performance on income taxes, she lowered those. When you checked her performance in ensuring that they had buses on the road, she did that. When you check her performance on trust loans and ensuring her government delivered those, that was done. When you check her performance on the sewage on the South Coast, she did that. When you check her performance on ensuring there were garbage trucks, she did that. When you checked her performance on university fees, she and her team, they did that. When you check her performance on the water issues across the country, she and her government, they did that. When you check her performance on raising welfare, raising funeral grants, and raising pensions so people can live and eat and feel better in this country, she and Team BLP, they did that. When you check the performance of our Prime Minister, BLP and Barbados, she has performed. She has a record of performance. We can endorse a record of a Prime Minister that when she says something, she does it. When her team say that they're going to deliver, they deliver. And tonight, we're going to welcome our Prime Minister, Mia Amor Motley.
Right now she got vibes galore. We voting Mia and more. She's the best PM for we. Mia and the BLP. Who best to lead this country? Vote Mia and Team BLP. Barbados Labour Party is the only choice for we on call. We want Mia for sure in this election. Mia is the champion, say on call. We want Mia for sure in this election. Mia is the champion, so come. Hands up there, we keep on voting. Mia is the one for win. Hands up there, we keep on voting with Mia and the BLP. Hands up there, we keep on voting. Mia is the one for win. Hands up there, we keep on voting with Mia and the BLP.
No, on your mark, get set, get ready now to put down the hex. January 19th, everything set. BLP live and direct. Everybody know. Trip to the polling station. Pick up the pencil tip. Put down that X for the BLP quick.
Mia, we safer with Mia.
Boom.
Right now she she got 5-star Lord. We voting Mia and more. She's the best PM for we. Mia and the BLP. Who best to lead this country? Vote Mia and Team BLP. Barbados Labour Party is the only choice for we on call. We want Mia for sure in this election. Mia is the champion, say on call. We want Mia for sure in this election. Mia is the champion, so come. Hands up, let we keep on voting. Mia is the one for win. Hands up, let we keep on voting with Mia and the BLP. Hands up, let we keep on voting.
I love you too, darling. Good night, family. Good night, family. You see the two men I just had on stage? You know, today's been a long day. But I would only know what it is to finish this day with pride after coming here tonight. You see, as you would appreciate, the city of Bridgetown has always had a special place in my heart, separate from St. Michael Northeast. And it was inevitable that having been brought up in the shadows of the city and having been introduced into electoral politics by Billy Miller, by walking and canvassing every house in the city of Bridgetown in 1989, that I developed a special rapport, Andine, with all of you. In those days, it was Griffo and Wayne Curtin, the Reverend Wayne Curtin, as we know him now, who walked with Billy, and I walked with them as a young girl, 23 years old, come to town to learn. And boy, did you teach me in the city of Bridgetown. I met Whiskey, I met Audrey, I can go on and on, all of you. Linda, who is in New York. Latoya, you come a little after. So when I start this meeting talking about family, it is because, like St. Michael Northeast, the city of Bridgetown helped raise me in this country. I think tonight of Vivian Goodman, who straddled between the two constituencies. And those who clap in here know what I mean. Because from the very first time I went in Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic, as it then was, in 1988, for the annual conference, my very first one, Vivian Goodman and a number of you took me and held me. And then Billy gave me the opportunity to walk with her. But thereafter, two special men came along. Jeffrey Bostic has a special place in my heart. Some of you want to, I ain't with you, because you know where you, Jeffrey, protect me. My elders are to protect me, Jeffrey. But if ever there was an officer and a gentleman, it is Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic. And you know, when the time came to choose the cabinet, after you gave us that extensive mandate, I said to you that in my view, there were two ministries that were treated like stepchildren
in an independent Barbados. One was health and one was agriculture. And I chose Jeffrey Bostic to be able to integrate health back in to the mainstream because we understood that it affects every single Barbadian and every single household potentially. Little did I know that in choosing Jeffrey, I was doubly choosing the right man because a pandemic was to lie ahead of us. And I stand here tonight to say to you, I have watched people lead in this hemisphere with this pandemic over the last 2 years. And there is no minister in the Americas who has led better than Jeffrey Bostic as it relates to the leadership of the COVID-19 pandemic. They could do one or a few of them as well as. But Jeffrey was not only leading the effort here on the ground, the logistics of expanding health, the Ministry of Health's response, the integration of the Barbados Defense Force in being able to fill the gaps to meet a challenge that we had never seen in an independent Barbados, drawing on every aspect of the government. At the same time, he was also leading councils in the Pan American Health Organization. And that is why we have been able to do as well as we have. He built on relationships that allowed this country and you to benefit. Our death rate is lower than almost everyone else in the region. We got vaccines before other countries in the region. Obviously, the big countries who make it get it first. But the rest of us had to wait. But we got it. We built Harrison's Point. And we hired and engaged people. And that is why when people talk to us about debt increasing, I say to you, lives are saved. But Jeffrey Bostic, no retreat, no surrender, shall come to be the mantra that defined this period of 2 years. Led ably by a soldier in front. And Jeffrey, as you leave electoral politics, I say to you that we shall miss you. But I say to you that we honor you and we respect you because you have delivered beyond the call of duty for the people of this nation. I salute you, Jeffrey Bostic. And when you hear the speech that he gave tonight here, telling you what he set out to achieve in the city of Bridgetown, and much of which he did, but also admitting that COVID displaced our ability to meet some of the things that we wanted to do. And I'm going to speak more about that tonight with you, because the time has come for real conversation in this campaign. He spoke with sincerity tonight, with honesty, and with a way that understands the reality of what we face, the pride that we had, but the disappointments that we also faced, because you and I know that that is life. And Corey Lane, I first met this young man many years ago. And you know when you meet somebody and they stand in your mind as somebody special, Corey Lane was that special person. And yes, I'm going to admit to you what I told him. As far back as 2007, Corey, where are you? I told you, you told me you were interested in representational politics. And I told you, young man, settle yourself and put yourself in a position to serve people properly first. Don't complain that this is a child thing and you running up, want to be a thing first. Get your degree. continue your great charity work, because from a young man, Corey was wanting to help people and put system. How many young people you know go and do what he did to help all kinds of hundreds of young people across this country, not knowing how you're going to raise the money to be able to keep the institution at Fun Ranch open? And I said to him as far back as 2007, you clearly have talent, but position yourself first as an independent and decide who you really want to serve. I said, I would like it to be me and the Labour Party, but you got to feel it in your belly first. Ask Corey Lane. And I advised him that because of his unique skills of being able to bring people together and to break down issues, to go and work on the call-in program if he could get on. He wasn't a B, he wasn't a D. That's the truth. And there were times when Labour Party people accused him of being a Dem, and Dems accused him of being a B. I say you did what you were supposed to do. But when the time came, when you gave me the mandate to be able to constitute a government, I could think of no better person to appoint as my special advisor on poverty alleviation than Corey Lane. He understands poverty. He understands vulnerability. He has a heart for people. He has a patience that allows him to listen to you. He has a patience that allows him to work with you. He has a tolerance for people that is rare. And therefore, knowing how special the city is to me, and knowing what Jeffrey Bostic and Billy Miller and my father and my grandfather and Peter Miller were able to do for the city since 1946. 1946, when my grandfather was elected. He wasn't a man with a degree, but he had a heart that cared for people. And to this day, there are people when I walk Barbados, particularly in St. Michael, who tell me, don't come here, or we don't need anything from you. Were it not for your grandfather helping us out, I would not know how these children would have been raised. I would not have been able to be raised by my parents. I would not have been able to make life as I saw it. And that is the kind of person I see in Corey Lane. A heart as large and as wide as the city of Bridgetown. Spending time caring enough about people. And you heard him tonight. I got a text walking in here tonight. I know the people telling me, I hope Corey is not all talk because he's talking too powerful and too sweet. I hope this is the real deal. And I answered them, and this is a woman that's a hard marker. This is a woman that's quick to abuse. Rosie, you know she good. And I said, he is the real deal. And I say so tonight because when I look across on the other side last night, you heard me talk. And I talked straight to you. Because this country has been reduced by the Democratic Labour Party to a battle for George Street. You have, and Santia, you said it well tonight, they have gone after Verla because their misogyny knows no limits. Their hatred for women knows no limits. Verla got her own problems, but not even she deserved the kind of internecine warfare coming from the north, the south, the east, and the west coming at her. Where else in the Caribbean do you see a leader of a political party being outdone in the running of her campaign nationally and in her constituency by two mavericks? Two mavericks. One elevates a spot meeting to a gospel concert to tell you that don't mind he was missing in action for 3.5 years. he come back out 2 months ago. And he wants to prove that he is the real Dan Gorgon because he got money behind he spending. Pomposity. Hey, no, don't get tired. That's the one with the hand there. And then you go to the other one, who now is really calling the tunes. And why? He believes that he must run his campaign and the Dems campaign in the image of himself. Up until 3 o'clock this afternoon, the Democratic Labour Party was launching its manifesto on Thursday night in 6 Roads. Since then, it is now launching its manifesto on Thursday night in Burton. You hear what I just tell you? Tell me when else in the history of this country a manifesto is launched in a polling district. Everybody else launches manifestos in key communities. And in the middle of the day, he who calls the tune is he who pays the piper. And all of a sudden, Verla get devalued and decimate. And I am told that when the call was made today to relocate it, they were told in no uncertain terms, if you want the money to come into the campaign, then you must launch the manifesto in Britain. Do you understand what I told you all last night? You are now in Barbados to be the collateral damage to internecine warfare in George Street. They're out to take out one another. They're going to take out Verla first. And then once they take out Verla, it is a question of who remains standing and who got more backative to take out the rest. This is sad. It's sad. Because this is the same group of people who put us at the brink last time and on the edge. And you know what it took for us to bring it back. You know. And the reality is that while we brought it back, we had COVID. And therefore, we do not have the buffer. We do not have the space, the room for error. And that is why I have been as assiduous in addressing these issues. Because what is at stake is way, way, way too much. They could not borrow a cent from anybody in the entire world from December 2013. Their 23 downgrades, buttressed by all of the shenanigans at the Water Authority and in the port with Richard Seeley. Contracts signed days before the 2018 election. And if they want to test me, and let me bring the contracts for you. The fact that COVID came, as I told you, has affected so many things. But they want Barbadians to forget that Barbadians made a judgment on them 3.5 years ago. And the judgment which you made on them was that they were not fit to lead this country out of the most perilous crisis that they put us in. How is it that poor Verla and the whole Democratic Labour Party don't got the money, but 2 candidates got all kind of posters, all kind of feather banners, all kind of T-shirts, all kind of money spending in 2 constituencies? Well, you know, if I was one, the rest of the other 28, I would really have to stop talking to them. And them talking about one Barbados. But it just gets worse. Tonight, streets, Frandel finally, he must have borrowed GPS. Hey, 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 hey. Come down into town in Britain, say, last Kirk. You understand. And Santia, this is why you were so spot on. Verla de Pisa succeeds. Frandel Stewart. Frandel don't go to Checker Hall in St. Lucie last week when Verla launched the campaign. Well, that was the most natural place for Frandel to go and say, this is the lady in whom I am well pleased. This is the lady who is taking over from me. This is the start of the DLP campaign. These are the new candidates she has brought. Don't mind the four that I left over for she. He doesn't go there. But he comes down tonight on the board of Richard Seeley and then want to tell you that he care about working class people or he care about women. Frandel is only stirred by people who he believes to be patrician, to the manner born. He only tells you about Winter Crawford and people who he believes. Frandel don't tell you about agricultural workers. Frandel didn't bother about the fact that agricultural workers couldn't relieve themselves with dignity in this country. Frandel didn't care about the fact that sewage was running on the street. Frandel didn't care about the fact that in the city of Bridgetown, they had big able trees growing in the tanks. At Chapman Lane there. And what is worse, listen to the idle boast he made tonight. That he, Frandel Jerome Stewart, is proud of 2008 to 2018, and nobody can make him feel ashamed of that time. Well, my brother, we always knew you were a loner. We always knew that you liked to be by yourself. And we don't have a problem if you want to be the only body who was proud of your record under the Democratic Labour Party 2010 to 2018. Because we know that the rest of Barbados not only was not proud, not only was ashamed, but we sucked salt. And this country's image was trampled on. People used to ask, what happened to Barbados? Many of you could not get tax refund, reverse tax credit. Last month, you get $47 million given back to Bajans in tax refunds and reverse tax credit. And not the same people who was getting it last time, because last month you got people who never got before, earning between $1,500 and $2,000 a month, drawing reverse tax credit now. And people earning between $2,000 a month and $3,000 a month, when you pay taxes in this country the last 2 years, we give you back all the taxes you pay in income tax in a compensatory income credit. Making it possible, even in these difficult times, for you to succeed. But coming back to them, how can one country now be put at the mercy of that kind of battling? This is not even about, you thought that George Pilgrim and Guy Hewitt running against Verla was trying to settle a new direction. But the four people, Richard Seeley, David Eswick, Michael Lashley, and Dennis Lowe. I can't remember the first name at first. Come back now to tell you you were wrong in sending them packing. And that all of a sudden, in 3 years' time, they changed like Saul on the road to Damascus and now got a whole halo above them. and that they all of a sudden can do miracles in this country when this country is facing COVID and climate crisis and ashfall and all of the other things. And the difference is that you have a government that has stayed the course. When we ask people for anything in this country, we ask them for land to build for poor people, not for money to put in the body pocket. So that we have done enough to know, and trust me, you don't be a serious political institution without doing your homework. Verla is in nothing. She's in nothing. I spent the entire day again today, most of it, in St. Lucie again. She is in nothing. And they are doing their best to undermine her. And in this last week, this now becomes a straight race between the pit bull and the Lord. Lord Seeley. Lord Seeley of the Pine. It's sad. Because before they come together as one and restore the party of Errol Walton Barrow, they are interested in the individual pursuit of power and who can be leader of the opposition. And you, who worried about how you are going to get out of this crisis, have now to stand back and watch them like if this is a sitcom on TV. I wish it was a sitcom. Because if it was a sitcom, you could turn off the TV and go to bed. But you now have to endure the indignity that they could well be responsible for the affairs of this country again. God help us. And desperate rumors. They don't believe that it is possible for the Labour Party to build 10,000 houses. Well, I say tonight, give us the vote and watch me. Never judge a man by your own low standards and incompetence. Don't do that. And the worst thing you can do is tell me that it can't be done because Marcus and them will tell you that I can work 20 hours a day to make it possible. And these men and women who I have with me are of similar commitment and drive. You heard Kirk Humphrey and Marsha Cadell and Santia Bradshaw and Corey Lane. All young men and women. All young men and women. With a pep in their step. With a dream in their head. With a commitment in the soul. Ready to put their shoulders to the wheel. And to drive work on your behalf. And instead, what is being offered to you are a bunch of disparate people fighting and pulling there and pulling here and creating all kind of comments and rumors. I spoke to you tonight, last night, and tonight earlier when I spoke in another area about what they're trying to do with Marsha and them wicked and malicious rumors. Every day, Marsha, be of good courage. They come at me every day, and it don't make no difference. Don't make no difference. But I also want to talk to others in here tonight. I want to talk to us. You see us wearing red? Us who belong to red? I come to talk to us tonight too. Because I get it. We didn't expect to have to fight COVID. We didn't. And when you look at the record in the manifesto, because the genius of that book is that it has both future, but it has the record. And you would realize that the majority of what we could do and do well, especially those things that took money in projects and that kind of thing, came in the first 19, 20 months. And once COVID hit, you had to change gear and change course. Because what was at stake, we didn't know. Nobody knew. Remember them early days in March 2020? Nobody knew. And we went through different phases. And when we thought that we could turn the corner at the end of 2020 again, bam, all year's night. Jeffrey called me in the morning, all year's morning, and tell me, boss, these are the facts. I said, don't say another word. Meet me at Elara Court in 45 minutes and we will address the country. And we did that. And we have had to battle these things. It meant that the projects that we wanted to do and push were not immediately available. It meant that the jobs that we wanted to create, instead, when you stop getting 60,000 tourists a month, you all of a sudden had 40,000 people lose their jobs. Before COVID, there were more women employed in Barbados, more male unemployment than female unemployment for the first time in this country's history. And from the time COVID came, all of a sudden female unemployment gone back up in the air. We went high. And the fact that we have been able to bring unemployment back down in Barbados to where it is tonight, we're not where we want to be, but we have brought it significantly back down to where we are now in a position to see the way forward. So I get it when some of you in the party, as I move around and on the ground, say to me, and you know, I can talk to you all straight all the time, you know. Good or bad, I can talk straight. I love you too, darling. I love you too. Good or bad, it meant, therefore, that some of the things that all of us, Kirk and Marsha and Santi would tell you, Jeffrey would tell you, we had to put on pause. Because what we then had to do was find money to build Harrison's Point. There was no way that we could move and let people go straight into the QEH with COVID. You would understand what would happen to the people in the QEH if we had done that. And then you're a nurse, you know. And we took the hard decision and had to look for almost $20 million. Harrison's Point, when Dale Marshall and I went up there that afternoon in the Friday and the February, had bush 15 feet high. And by the next morning, Jeffrey, you remember you came down there with Dale and me. And within hours, Public Works had equipment down there starting to clear the way. And we had down there within 4 weeks more ICU beds at Harrison's Point than Queen Elizabeth Hospital that had for 50-something years. But what that meant is that money spent there could not now be spent here. You understand the trade-offs? And what then had to happen is what matters most. And we chose Bajan lives. We chose Bajan lives. I'm talking to you this way because COVID also meant that we didn't have the opportunity to mix and branch meetings and rub up on each other as we would. Take a drink and lime, go down East Coast on April 28th, hug up and cuss up and love up. Red in town, red wash. And like everything else in life and in family, people need sometimes to release. And say, this is how I feel, man. Man, it got me feeling a certain way. And when you sit down and talk, you say, oh, shoot, I didn't realize that. And everything come back down level. That is what COVID robbed us of. It happened in small groups, but with the best will in the world, with the restrictions that you had in COVID, it meant that you couldn't have that kind of rapport that you would normally have. So I get it when Lil Rick says in his song, don't stand home and play that you vex. Come out and give us the X. And why? And let me break it down for you. We know them ain't ready yet, but I'm talking to us now. I'm talking to us. Because what I need from you and what my team needs from you is a proper mandate. A mandate. We need people to come out. And we need people to come out because what we have to do to fix this country needs your consent. And you can't take no chances. You can play that you vex with somebody and end up with a hangman's noose around your neck if the Dems win. Well, I never see more foolishness in my life. And let me break it down for you. If you got 10 people, and 6 of the 10 is BLP, and 3 is Dems, and 1 is an independent, it looks as though the BLP got all the support. But guess what? Support is not votes. Flour is not cake. You don't eat flour, you eat cake. You eat bake, you eat bread. Only a madman is take up flour and put it in his mouth. Support is not votes. And when that ballot box is open and the polling agents from the electoral office do so, it's empty. It's empty. So we start off now with the 10 people in the room. 6 Bs supporting, 3 supporting Dems, 1 supporting an independent. 3 of the Ds say we definitely voting for the Dems because we is die-hard Dems and we don't care where you sit, we coming out. The independents say, well, I like grandfather life for myself. I'm voting and I'm voting and I'm voting. And the 6 Bs now, three say, man, I wanted that job. I work in here, but there was to give me a next job at X place. And I vex. Next one say, man, I wanted to be a JP and I ain't get it yet. They tell me it's coming in the next round. And the next one say, well, I seen nobody in the last 2 years, don't mind I had COVID, man, they could have still come out. And you're left with 3. 4, 3 Dems and an independent against 3 Bs. What happened? All who had natural support and in charge, all of a sudden know what? You're in the opposition. Are you still wearing the scars of the 3 years ago? In fact, when you throw a little salt on the scars, it's still burning. But you vex. I want Lil Rick's song there for me, please. Bring it up.
Don't stand for man, play that you vex. Get
Roll
out there
it
and
again.
get the X. Don't stand
Roll
for
it
man, play
again.
that you vex. Don't stand for man, play that you vex. Get out there and give me get the X. Don't stand for man, play that you vex. Get out there and give me get the X. Don't stand for man, play that you vex. Get out there and give me get the X. Don't stand for man, play that you vex. Get out there and give me get the X. Don't stand for man, play that you vex. Get out there and give me get the X. Cause you know BLP is the best. Don't stand for man, play that you vex. Get out there and give me get the X. Cause you know BLP is the best.
Wanna get the message? Wanna get the message? Who I coming here to talk to tonight? Us. Us. And I am going around this country because I know what it is to come from a large family too. And I know that in a large family, everybody can't get at the same time. Somebody got to eat first. Somebody got to stand back sometimes. The secret is it can't be the same body all the time. You got to share. And you got to make sure that there's a level of fairness. And that is why I have asked to come to you for a new mandate. But that part of the equation depends now on you. Because when Richard Seeley asked what decisions we got to make, pass that manifesto there a minute, please. Thank you. He only got to go to page 2. Want to know what decisions we got to make? And you know, and I know, that this is a plaything. That in 10 to 12 years' time, if you got less people working in Barbados than working now, people pension at risk. That in 12 to 15 years' time, if the world continue to warm like it is, if you feel you ain't got groundwater now, God knows what you're going to get in 12 years' time. You really ain't going to see no water about here, unless you're using desal water and taking the salt out of it, and that is naturally more expensive. And if you think you have problems now, the soil that growing, the soil ain't yielding the same thing. And the pandemics ain't only about COVID. How many people you know went in the hospital in the last 10 years and dead from some kind of virus that the antibiotics can fix, Undine? The superviruses that we have become resistant to. I may not get there with you at the end of the journey 10 and 12 years from now. But if we don't start it now, God help you, God help me, God help our families, and God help our country. And you don't have to listen to me. But if you believe the facts and you see the evidence, if it looks like a duck and it sounds like a duck, it has to be one. If the hurricanes come in and the freak storms come in, you know more coming. But we got people out here that want to make this about a leader of opposition in George Street. And we got members in here who want, and that's why I'm asking you, work with me now. Work with me. We know it's not perfect. We never profess to be perfect. But we profess to come and work every day such that you could have a caring and delivering government in spite of an IMF program, in spite of the pandemic, in spite of the ashfall, in spite of the freak storm, in spite of Elsa. You know, I watched a movie years ago when I was a student, and it talked about loving people in spite of and not because of. And it's one of the greatest lessons I learned in my life. Everybody likes to love people because of, because they did this for me, because they look like this, because of that. But sometimes in life, and all of us who have some element of religion or spirituality know this, that sometimes you have to love in spite of. The least you have done it to the who? The least of these. If you have done it to who? The least of these. Our political philosophy as a party is about taking care of the least and the weakest and empowering them such that there can be prosperity for everyone. But for that to happen, it means that we have to have context. And our context was that for 19, 20 months, we did everything we told you we would do in the mission critical agenda virtually. And out of nowhere, we start, you know, the first time I heard about COVID was on the BBC World Service at night coming home on radio. And it was just like a distant thing in the back of your head. Only to find out that within 2 months, this thing had the whole entire world gas-rattled. Big China shut down whole cities. Tens of millions of people can't move. So when I say to you, we get it. This evening, I talk to other fellas, and I tell you, I get it. But the one thing I know is that with what is happening with Omicron, or Micron, or whatever you want to call it, that it is likely, it is so contagious that it is likely, and because it is less virulent, less likely to do the danger and damage that Delta did, that we can get out of this. And my friends, what we are seeing in Barbados already, and we put them in this manifesto, is that 2022 is likely to have a construction boom. I am saying to the family of the Barbados Labour Party, I am saying to the supporters of the Barbados Labour Party, I am saying to the supporters of Barbados who are independent, we need you to stand up and be counted by coming out and voting on January 19th next week. And vote for the Barbados Labour Party. Do not believe that what is happening can continue because you wish it to happen. You want it to happen. Your neighbor will make it happen. The only guarantee that you have is by coming out and voting for the Barbados Labour Party. And as this is the meeting for the city of Bridgetown, voting for one of Barbados' brightest, youngest prospects that can carry this country forward as we go forward in a caring way and in a way that will make a difference to the quality of lives of the people of the city of Bridgetown. Corey Lane. And if you say you like me, because many of you are telling me, but we want you, but I know you can't want me and don't vote. You can't want me and don't put a ring on it. You can't want me and don't put an X next to the candidate for the Barbados Labour Party. You can't want me and stand home and wish that it happened and then say, man, I always knew you're going to win. I didn't know you were God. I didn't know that you had some kind of supernatural powers. We are at a stage, my friends, and I have never been too proud. We pay our bills. We stand up for what is right. We have brought back honor to this country. And we have started the process of bringing dignity to many of you. Has everyone benefited yet? Of course not. But can any and everyone benefit on this journey? That's what this manifesto's theme is about. Our Barbados, owning our future. And if we recognize that spirit of togetherness matched by an understanding that we had an event that happened among us that threw us to the ground, but it did not keep us on the ground, because in us is a resilient spirit to stand up and to fight again. But when we stand up, we want as many people standing up and giving us fresh guard by giving us that mandate next Wednesday night to be the next government of Barbados and to make sure that we can pull together as one and fight the battles that will give you the jobs, give you the opportunities, give you the capacity to own homes in this country, continue to see a future that is brighter in spite of the cloudy weather brought on to us internationally. I say to this Barbados Labour Party family, and I say to the independents, and I even say to the Dems, you can continue to steal a little love on the side. Because deep down you know that were it not for your decision, don't get tied up, your decision to put the mandate in the hands of the Barbados Labour Party, who knows where we would be tonight after 2 years of COVID. So my friends, the hour is late. I ask you not to listen to this message and go home and sleep alone, but to go tomorrow now and do like the rest of us and carry the message and spread the word to those who live in at you tonight. Tomorrow to those who live next to you and opposite you.
to the people who you work with, and bring up little Rick for me. Loop him 3 times and run the track. Good night and God bless you. Vote for the Barbados Labour Party next Wednesday. I love you.
Don't stand for me, play that you vex. 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 Get out there and give me the X. Cause you know BLP is the best. BLP. If you love Barbados as bad as me, vote for BLP. Me and the team BLP. Vote for BLP. You want the best for this country. Vote for BLP. Barbados Labour Party is for we. Vote for BLP. Them boys ain't ready. Them boys ain't ready. I voted for BLP. Them boys ain't ready. Me and the BLP.
Barbados Labour Party, you've heard what competence sounds like. Join us tomorrow as we go to Lamings in St. Joseph and we go to Bridgetown in St. Michael South Central to hear more of the plans that we have for you as we share and defend our record at the same time. Get home safely and God bless.